So thrilled to finally be back with you for the first time in 3.5 weeks, and it's felt like so much longer than that. You're watching the Brick Lane Brewing pregame show, and after this, we've got the starting lineups and the first pitch. It's the Giants and the Aces right here on Aces TV.
And that one sails over the wall. Fire me up, Darrendale. And the Aces double the lead. It's 4-2. Hero George, double play.
Well, on the Werribee line in between Newport and Laverton, that's where Melbourne Ballpark lies. And we are so thrilled to be back here for round 7 of the ABL regular season and a big-time matchup, the Melbourne Aces and the Adelaide Giants. Michael Dixon alongside Ed Wyatt, the rest of our Sportscast Australia crew as folks pile in on a Thursday night here in Altona. Ed, first and foremost, so nice to finally be back with you again.
It's great to see you again, Michael. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all those good things as we watch the Aces head away for 3 weeks, essentially. Now back on a 9-game homestand here at Melbourne Ballpark. And you can see the crowd. I watched them from up above rolling into the parking lot. We're going to be in for a great night tonight. Beautiful weather. Not too hot, but sunny. This should be a really, really good series.
Well, as we set up this big series, Chris Adamson, John Diebel, the two skippers going head-to-head, you really don't have to set up much. You've got the Adelaide Giants 14-9, but a team that has struggled lately. You've got the Melbourne Aces 13-10, but one of the best teams in the calendar month of December in the ABL, and a team that also just had to go on the road in 3 consecutive rounds, and they came back with a 7-4 record over those 11 games. You and I were talking about a split being good. 7-4 was outstanding.
Absolutely right. 11 home runs. I think you mentioned that in the pregame in that Brisbane series last week. And the good news, too, for Aces fans is just as the Aces have started heating up, Adelaide has started cooling off a little bit. They're making some errors. They're not winning as many games. And so there's that invincibility from the first 2 or 3 weeks has sort of dissipated. And I think I think these are the 2 best teams in the league, I'll be honest with you. So this is a very, very important 5-game series, not 4.
Yeah, it is a 5-game series. These teams have to make up the game lost 3 weeks ago in Adelaide to Raid, and so they'll play a doubleheader on Saturday as the Aces get ready in that first base dugout. The Giants in red in the third base dugout, and we've got some sun poking through. It really is, I think, on balance, a nice night at the ballpark. There's a tiny chill in the air with the wind blowing in from left center, but as you can see, 18 degrees, humidity 67%. There's that wind I was talking about, but most importantly, Ed, chance of rain 0%. Those are the weather conditions brought to you by Vibrant Services.
Yeah, great to see that. The wind, as we know and have detailed throughout the first 2 series of this season, you just never know about the wind here in this ballpark. It's very unpredictable. I left my home. It was not a breath of wind in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. I get out here, my hair is blowing all over the place. You've got rubbish flying in front of me on the ground. Not a lot of it, by the way, because our crew does a good job of picking it up. But you just never know. You look at the flags, you try and get a read on it. We'll see how it goes through the first few innings.
Well, we'll meet the Aces lineup when we come back after the national anthem. But I did want to ask you one specific question. And you go back to the series between these 2 teams in the second week of December. Adelaide took 2 of the 3. The Giants were playing really well. The Aces were scuffling a little bit. But these teams are completely different now. It feels like the Aces have turned into a completely different team, and the Giants are playing quite a bit differently. Do you feel like that factors into the narrative at all this week?
Yeah, I think it does. Well, look, for example, just statistically, first 15 games, Adelaide made 6 errors. The last 8 games, they've made 9. So they're starting to get a little bit sloppier. They also haven't won a game where their opponent took the lead first. They're 0-4 in those games, and the Aces are 9-2 when they score first. So early runs, very important, especially important against Adelaide.
Well, we've got the lineup coming up and the starting lineup for the Aces after that. Game 1 of 5. It's the Melbourne Aces and the Adelaide Giants, and this is Aces TV. Well, the anthem over, and we're back at Melbourne Ballpark as we get set for Game 1 of 5, and a big one between the Melbourne Aces and the Adelaide Giants. Let's meet the Melbourne lineup starting defensively, and it begins with the left fielder, Chris Berg. There are some, I don't want to say newer faces, but faces we haven't seen as often in the lineup with the departure of the Japanese. Chris Berg's going to get more playing time. He's been good lately. Aaron Whitefield has really been a nice catalyst towards the top of the order. And Whitefield, the center fielder, he's played some great defense this season as well. Zion Bannister has been excellent in the leadoff spot. That's where he is tonight. But he's in right field defensively. Daryl George is at third base. And George very quietly sneaking up on that all-time home run record. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Robbie Glendening, the shortstop, league walk leader. He's made some excellent defensive plays as well. Glendening playing short. George Khalil had a really good series in Brisbane. He's the second baseman, and Khalil has been very good at the bottom of the order this year. Greg Bird, the league RBI leader. No surprise there. 6 homers, 25 RBIs. How good has he been? He's the first baseman here tonight. It is Mitch Edwards making his first start as a Melbourne Ace at Melbourne Ballpark, and he is catching tonight. The designated hitter is Jared Dale. What a series he had in Brisbane. He's got an 8-game hitting streak, time of the longest active in the league. He's DHing. And the left-hander, Gunnar Kynes, is on the mound for Melbourne. He had a tough go against Brisbane last time, gave up 8 runs in an inning and 2/3, but this is a great chance for Kynes to put together a bounce-back start. For Kynes, he will face an Adelaide lineup that looks like this. It's a very good lineup. Top to bottom, Nick Ward is the third baseman, and he's leading things off. He's followed by Liam Spence, the second baseman. Quincy Lattimore is in right field batting third. Rickson Wingrove, the first baseman, cleaning up. Josh Altman, the shortstop, batting fifth. Jordan McArdle, DHing, batting sixth. Andrew Nava, the catcher, bat seventh. Bradley Knight, the left fielder, batting eighth. Cade Fergus, the center fielder, batting ninth. And we'll talk more about Lachlan Wells in the bottom of the first, but how good has he been with 5 starts under his belt, 26 innings, 0 runs allowed. So Gunnar Kynes on the mound for Melbourne, and Lachlan Wells on the mound for Adelaide. We're ready for baseball in Game 1 of 5. We'll see a lot of baseball over the next 4 days. After 3.5 weeks away, the Aces are finally back. The first pitch is high. We're underway. Nick Ward takes ball 1.
Wasn't sure we'd remember how to do this, Michael.
Well, it might as well be another offseason. At least that's what it felt like lengthwise. Now, Ward, a .321 batter on the year. How good has he been at the top of the order? The MVP runner-up for the Adelaide Giants a season ago. Adelaide 14-9, best record in the ABL coming in. But again, they have struggled lately. Popped up and foul ground. Here comes Daryl George from third. Boy, they ran out of room quickly with that wind blowing across from right to left. And so perhaps a little fortunate. Nick Ward still alive, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to begin things here tonight.
I have to keep an eye on that, Michael, because that right to left, if that's the way the wind's going to blow, then the home runs over the left field fence will be easier to hit than the ones going to the right, which is not usually the way it works here at Melbourne Ballpark. But we'll keep an eye on that.
Gunnar Kynes 1-1 with a 5 ERA. Gave up 3 home runs his last time out. Unusual for the lefty who has been so good in this league. He's the reigning pitcher of the year, Gunnar Kynes.
Nick Ward, just Mr. Philly. Went to high school there, went to college nearby with the Phillies. Now he's in Australia.
2-2 pitch, and a called third strike of the inside corner. So
nice.
So far, so good for Gunnar Kynes. He picks up a strikeout against Nick Ward to begin things, and there's 1 away in the top of the first. Well, something's got to give in this series, Ed, because you've got the 2 best pitching staffs ERA-wise, but you've also got the 2 heaviest hitting home run teams in the ABL. We're going to see one or the other. I doubt that we'll see much of both. Now, granted, the way that the weather looks this weekend, I think it does favor the guys on the mound, but it's hard to ignore how good the Melbourne offense has been over the last couple of weeks, coming off the 11 home runs against Brisbane in what was a wild 4-game series. A couple of doubleheaders last weekend right before the Christmas break.
It's Liam Spence up now. That's a very familiar name here. His brother Josh, of course, played with the Padres. He was a pitching coach for Adelaide and Liam played in the University of Tennessee. Very, very good baseball player in the Cubs organization.
And from not too far away in Geelong as well, a fifth-round pick of the Cubs a couple of years ago.
ABL Rookie of the Year last year.
That is a broken back grounder. Nice pick by Daryl George at third and a strong throw across. The Aces have been so good defensively the last few weeks, and it's plays like that Daryl George, Robbie Glendenning, George Khalil have made look easy. That was anything but with a tough in-betweener, and Daryl George with a nice scoop out number 2 here in the first.
Absolutely right. Now here comes a familiar face to the lineup. Quincy Lattimore. Spent a little time here, won a championship with the Aces here in 2019-2020. 34-year-old, about to turn 35.
Well, he's coming up on that milestone, but he's also coming up on 2,000 games played. By the way,
that is ludicrous.
That's a tough way to throw our umpiring crew in with the introductions. Casey Cook at third couldn't make the play on the ground ball that rolls right through his legs. Kenichi Umeki is behind the plate. Kingo Iwashita at first, and Jeffrey Dunn, the second base umpire. Popped up off to the first base side out of play, nothing in 2. But he's coming up on milestone age-wise. He's also coming up on 2,000 career games played. He's one double away from 400.
Yeah, 400 doubles, yeah.
I mean, Quincy Lattimore has played on 4 different continents, and he's basically been a winner everywhere he's gone. Twice he's won the Claxton Shield here in Australia. You mentioned he was part of that Melbourne team in 2019-2020, and of course with the Giants last year, but he's a guy that literally can't stop playing baseball.
Yeah,
I don't know
when
the day of reckoning is finally going to come for him, but Aces have the overshift on with 2 strikes, and that tails away 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Really nice guy as well, too. His time with the Aces, very generous with his time on our broadcasts and things like that.
Hines looking for a 3-up, 3-down first. And he's going to have to throw one more pitch. Lattimore fouls that off to the right-hand side. A really good Thursday night crowd. This is a sign of things to come on New Year's weekend. We're in for a fun 4 days here at Melbourne Ballpark.
I think it'll be a good crowd. This series and the next series, post-Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Still so weird to hear that post-Christmas good baseball crowd, but that's the reality.
It is the reality, and people still aren't back at work. A lot of people are, obviously, but a lot aren't. So hopefully we get some good crowds like this one tonight.
We're walking by the parking lot at the Laverton train station. There's hardly anybody. 3-2 skied to center field. Easy for Whitefield. 3-up, 3-down for Gunnar Kynes in the top of the first. We go to the bottom half. The Giants nothing, and the Aces coming up.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Aussie gardeners are best served by Aussie tools, built specifically for our unique environment and conditions. Back in the 1890s, Leonard Chambers and William Thompson started a beekeeping supply business in Melbourne. Little would they know that their company would go on to change how Australians garden for well over a century. Cyclone is ingrained into our country's history and our way of life. Our tools are long-lasting and purpose-built for hard work.
We've been making quality tools for over a century.
They last that long, you can hand them down to the next generation.
Good, quality, honest product that the Australian people have grown to love.
It's not an Aussie shed without a cyclone.
My biggest takeaway of being here for 34 years is just a sense of pride in the product.
Australians buy good products. So if they keep on buying, we keep on making, so we're here.
Cyclone tools, made for Australians.
Well, Aces baseball, powered by Business Network International. BNI International is flourishing across Melbourne's West and Geelong. Local businesses, including the Aces, join BNI for professional development, networking opportunities to increase business prospects. Find your local BNI chapter to tap a wealth of resources and join a winning team. Still some jackets And blankets throughout the crowd with that wind coming in. Might be a little chill in the late December air, but for the most part, plenty of sunshine to go around, and folks file into Melbourne Ballpark as we start Game 1 of this 5-game series. The Adelaide Giants and the Melbourne Aces, a matchup, two of the best teams in the ABL, and 4 teams separated by just 1 game entering play with Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Perth. So it's going to be a sprint to the finish line at the top of the table. Zion Bannister, the right fielder, leads things off. A switch hitter batting right against the very, very difficult lefty Lachlan Wells, 3-0 with a 0 ERA. Yeah, you heard that right. 26 innings, 12 hits, no runs. He's walked 3 and struck out 41, Ed. He has been absolutely sensational. And the first pitch lifted foul by Zion, 0-1.
It's funny when you literally cannot improve. You cannot get a better ERA than what he has. You can't go into negatives, can you? Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I think if you could, then Lachlan Wells would.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been that good.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
And when I was getting ready for the game, I was thinking video game numbers, and I thought that was disrespectful to Lachlan Wells. That's how good he has been. 1 ball, 1 strike to Zion Bannister. Speaking of good, Banny in the leadoff spot has been outstanding with .333 average and .877 OPS. He's just been a good catalyst for Melbourne there. A couple of home runs this year, including one that he hit against Brisbane last week. Again, it felt like pretty much everyone hit a home run for both teams. The Aces and the Bandits last week, but Zion had a no-doubter off the straightaway center field there in Brisbane.
And he struggled a little bit earlier. Remember, we watched him here have some real struggles, but he was hitting in that 5th, 6th position. Yep. Seems to be loving it at the top of the order.
Boy, that didn't miss by much from Wells. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And remember that first series against Perth. He was leading off, and he was among the league leaders in batting average, on-base percentage. Made some really good defensive plays as well. But then Aaron Whitefield came back into the fold. That's when they had to try and find another place for Bannister. And Banny ends up missing the series at Adelaide. He didn't make the trip. And then he comes back. They put him back in that leadoff spot with that series in Sydney. Of course, he had the big 3-run home run in the 9th inning against the Blue Sox. Part of that 4-game sweep for Melbourne. Bannister has simply been great from the leadoff spot. Fouls this off. We'll do it again, 3-2. Bannister followed by Whitefield and Glendening in the bottom of the first inning. We're just underway in Game 1 of this 5-game set. 1 game tonight, 1 game tomorrow. A doubleheader on Saturday, and then matinee Sunday, which is great news for everybody because that means you get some afternoon baseball and then plenty of time for your New Year's Eve festivities. Payoff pitch. That's a broken bat flare. Left center field. Altman back, cannot get there. And the contact is tough to come by against Wells. You got to take anything you can, and Bannister will take that. A leadoff single on a blooper here in the bottom of the first.
And we want to get those early runs, right? We talked about the statistics. Adelaide 0-4 when the opponent scores first.
So Aaron Whitefield stands in. We'll see if the Aces try and get the run game going. And they try and figure out a place for Bannister. It's been that leadoff spot. And then, of course, you need a place for Aaron Whitefield. So he has settled in to that 2 spot. The Melbourne lineup, 1 through 5, has been outstanding. Jared Dale actually in that 6th spot had a great series in Brisbane, and that's part of the reason why the Aces have been playing as well as anybody in the ABL.
Spoke with John Diebel, manager, before the game, and sort of asked him if there's any reason why the team seemed to play better on the road and home. He said, not at all. He said, I think we're coming together. We're cleaning some things up. We're in a good spot. He was very, very positive.
I say a lot of times, too, going on the road helps a lot with team bonding. This is popped up, foul ground.
Out of play.
And just on top of the All-Star bar. You have to go on one of those long road trips. And, you know, you're on the bus, on the plane, in the hotel with all the guys. And so you get a lot more time around each other than you do when you're at home. And so
that's kind of what I was fishing for, but John gave me nothing.
Well, he forgot what it's like to talk to the broadcasters, right? He didn't have to worry about us for 3.5 weeks.
Said, who are you?
Yeah. There goes Bannister. And a ground ball over to first. It's a fair ball grabbed by Wingrove. Whitefield is out, but Bannister safe at second. So The Aces do have the game's first run into scoring position. And
That'll
here comes
work.
Robbie Glendening. Absolutely, that'll work. Perhaps a little hit and run there with 2 strikes, trying to vacate the right side of the infield. But Wingrove is there on top of the line, and here is Robbie Glendening, the league's walk leader, tied for 4th with 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, tied for 5th, and Bannister at 2nd. That's potentially the first run allowed by Lachlan Wells all season. 26 1/3, no runs allowed. Hit that he gave up, that flare to left center field, only the 13th he's allowed this season, and he's walked just 3. His whip, .57 coming in. He's got 13.7 strikeouts per walk. I mean, the numbers are truly astounding for Lachlan Wells. Here's the 0-1. And it's high to Robbie Glendening.
Now, I had been calling Greg Bird the Walkman because he was lead, but now with Glendening, do I have to shift that nickname to Robbie?
Yeah, I think that statistically you have to. I mean, 21 walks pretty comfortably leads the league. Well, hitless his last time out on Saturday evening in Brisbane, but still walked 3 times. Bannister takes for 3rd. It's hit in the air to left field. Lattimore coming in.
No.
Dodge cannot get there. It gets past him to the base of the wall. Bannister trots in. Glendening at 2nd. The first run allowed by Wells this season. And the Aces have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 1st.
What an interesting play. We had the hit and run on. Zion wasn't sure if he was going to have to get back or not. Lattimore dives for it. I'm sure we'll see a replay. And you're right. Not only is that first run, but we've got that potential idea that Adelaide doesn't play well when they're behind. So we'll have a look here on the replay. Runners going. Hit deep. Lattimore diving effort, but it gets by him. And Zion waltzes in for the first run of the game.
They got the overshift down for Greg Bird. Glendening at 2nd. And the Aces with a 1-0 lead. And I also too think a major factor in that play, the wind coming in from left center field and kind of blowing across. We saw it with a foul ball earlier in the first inning, and that time it blew just far enough away from Lattimore that he could not make the catch, and it bounced past him to the base of the wall. Glendening with an RBI double.
Yeah, normally, as we said earlier, where that wind will go left to right, and it's not as difficult to play. But tonight it appears to be going right to left.
Bird 6 homers, 25 RBIs, tied for 1st, and a leading, respectively, in those categories. Pulls this to Wingrove, easy play. Glendening to 3rd, 2 down here at the bottom of the 1st. With the Aces with a 1-0 lead. Here comes Darryl George.
Hard hit ball, but as you mentioned, the shift was on, and second put out of the inning for Rickson Wingrove.
Well, the good news, too, for the Melbourne offense, not just the run, but the contact. Wells, 41 strikeouts and 26 innings coming in. And the Aces have put balls in play in all 4 plate appearances against him. Single from Bannister that he flared out the shallow left center, and the RBI double from Glendening. First pitch swinging from Darryl George out to right. And Knight broke in, makes the play, and the inning comes to an end. But Wells allows a run for the first time this season, and the Aces have a 1-0 lead. We go to the 2nd here at MVP.
All-Star Access Hire are your access equipment specialists. We have an extensive range of state-of-the-art equipment, and we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding customer service. We have the youngest fleet of equipment in Victoria, and we are consistently adding new machines. We get to know our customers and form partnerships with them. This video is of our partnership with the Victorian Government at Reservoir Station. All-Star Access Hire are proud sponsors of the Melbourne Aces and our All-Star Bar.
Well, there is the party deck and that'll be populated all weekend long. You can just see beer can after beer can lining up, already some crushed. That's some guys clearly enjoying their Thursday evening in the sun. A little bit of wind, but a great crowd here to open this 5-game series. It's almost like the folks from around missed the Aces while they were away for 3 consecutive rounds.
Exactly right. Bit of that. Great crowd tonight. Party deck really heaving tonight, and I've heard it's been selling really, really well. So melbourneaces.com.au if you want to come out to the ballpark, book a place in the party deck or anywhere in the ballpark. Come on out.
Well, Rickson Wingrove leads things off. RBI double from Robbie Glendening. The first run allowed by Lachlan Wells this year has Melbourne on top. 4, 5, and 6 coming through after Gunnar Kynes needing a bounce-back start after that rough outing in Brisbane last weekend. He goes 1, 2, 3. Left on left to start, and that got away from Kynes and hits Wingrove on the back. So a hit batter to begin things, and Wingrove is aboard. The Phillies prospect reached Double-A this past season. And here comes Josh Altman, a guy I know quite well. Josh, a Lincoln Salt Dog in 2021-22. Had an outstanding year for the Chicago Dogs of the American Association this past year. And here in Adelaide for his second season, but with very, very different circumstances a second time around. The first time he was in Adelaide, he was a member of the Texas Rangers, came out in 2016, 2017. Here he is, now married. His wife, Renee, came out as well. She is enjoying her 4 months out there in Adelaide. So they're having the time of their lives. Their second year of marriage. Altman pops this straight back and out of play. Oh, and luckily it avoided unsuspecting spectators walking up those steps.
And it bounced up, and a young man very fortunate to grab that. Good stuff. Yeah, that was, you need to be alert when you're at the ballpark, folks. Head on a swivel.
Right there. I mean, there's a lot of netting here, but you get one of those soft pop-ups just over the netting, and it is a projectile. 2 strikes with Wingrove at first. 1-0 in the top of the second. Middle infield, a double play depth. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Altman down on strikes. He had a tough go against Melbourne 3 weeks ago. He's now 1 for 10 with 5 Ks against the Aces in the season series. Second strikeout for Gunnar Kynes. 1 out in the top of the second. Here comes Jordan McArdle.
Yeah, this guy can hit. He is a dangerous, dangerous hitter if he gets hold of one. Doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing if he gets hold of it.
The 7th year with the Giants. Big left-handed batter. A big burly base runner at first as well.
Cool.
McArdle, like so many of these Adelaide hitters, dangerous top to bottom in just about every situation. The Giants lead an average on base, slugging, OPS, second in home runs. Only the Aces have hit more. 25 home runs for Melbourne coming into this 5-game series, 22 for Adelaide. We also got 2 teams that don't strike out very often. 2 lowest strikeout totals team-wide coming in. And a strike up at the zone called on McArdle. It's 2-1. 1 out, runner at first, 1-0. The Aces ahead through an RBI double from Robbie Glendening. First run allowed by Lachlan Wells. It came back in the bottom of the first. Here's the pitch. Fouled back, 2-2. Gunnar looks good, though. It looks like he's completely washed that outing in Brisbane down the drain.
You'd have to have that as a pro when you're a guy like that's been around that long. Flush it, get rid of it, move on, can't dwell on it.
And you pitched as well as he has, too. I mean, eventually you're probably going to have an outing like that. And Brisbane, a tough place to not have your best stuff. The way the ball flies out of the ballpark there, that's why he gave up the 3 home runs.
It's like you and I. We can't have a great broadcast every time. Every now and then we sort of, you just every now and then. No, I'm just kidding. We never have a bad one, do we? Well, if one of us does, the other one has a bad
Yeah, I think we complement each other well. Yeah. Here's the payout pitch. And a called third strike. Third strikeout for Kynes. Back-to-back Ks here in the top of the second, and Gunnar looks great.
3 strikeouts tonight, as you mentioned. McArdle had already thrown the bat. He was off for a walk and was not so fast, my friend.
Well, the Giants look on as they hit the road. They'll be back home next week. They come to Melbourne right before the new year. And I think what you could argue so far, this is well hit left field, sending Burt back at the track, and the Wally leaps up, and this ball is gone.
Andrick Nava, the Venezuelan, got hold of that. We mentioned the left field, that maybe some balls flying out of the park with that wind blowing from right to left. And sure enough, Nava got hold of that. He's got some power, and away it sailed.
Well, Nava with his 4th home run, the 23rd of the season for the Giants, and they cash in after that first pitch of the inning hit Wingrove. Back-to-back strikeouts, but a 2-run home run yielded by Kynes. And that'll bring up Briley Knight.
Briley Knight, son of Brooke Knight, 2-time championship-winning coach of the Perth Heat.
Tries a bunt and pops it straight back foul.
Briley was born here, but grew up in Corvallis, Oregon. Played a couple of years at Utah, then finished after COVID at the University of Portland. Wanted to be a little bit closer to home. Really nice kid. His dad, of course. You win two titles here, you're doing something right.
Here's the 0-1. And a breaking ball called strike 2. Yeah, Perth native. At least born out there in Perth.
He was born here, yeah, when his dad was sort of over here working. But he grew up in the States.
Pretty much had a traditional American upbringing.
Yep.
And you mentioned places like Corvallis and Portland, and that is right around your neck of the woods, correct?
Yeah, it certainly is. And so there was that connection. Steve Fish was another Portland guy who also led the Perth Heat to a title. So real Oregon connection over there in WA.
Check swing roller foul after the 2-run home run from Andrick Nava has the Giants on top 2-1, top of the second inning.
You did mention some home runs earlier, Michael, and it's come to fruition here.
And that got right into the teeth of the wind. That was well hit by Nava. Kept going and going. And of course, it is a little bit warmer than it was the last time we were here.
That's true.
That was a pretty cold, wet, windy weekend series against Brisbane, and had an impact, I think, on not necessarily the energy in the ballpark, but I think there were a lot of ticket holders who decided, hey, we'll wait and come back when it's a little nicer outside. So the weather a little more conducive to hitting home runs. And Knight in a battle here with Gunnar Kynes. 2-1, top of the second inning. Michael Dixon, Ed Wyatt, our entire Sportscast Australia crew. So thrilled to be back with you for the first time in 3.5 weeks.
Unbelievable.
It's only the second time the Aces have played 10 or more consecutive road games in franchise history. The first time since 2011. It's a big swing and a miss, and 3 strikeouts in the second for Kynes. He gives up the 2-run home run and gives up the lead. Adelaide take a 2-1 lead. We go to the bottom of the second here in Altona.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialties. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
At Ublinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. Ublinds Australia, more value for you.
Well, Melbourne Aces baseball brought to you by Dasher and Fisher. Beginning in 2017 with a vision to specialize in gins that speak of place and express Tasmania's remoteness and untouched beauty. Taste the rich, fertile soils and pure Cradle Mountain snowmelt in every drop of Dasher and Fisher Tasmanian gin. And I think when this series is over, there's a decent chance that I might have some Dasher and Fisher Tasmanian gin on Sunday, or perhaps have enough gin to wind up in Tasmania. We'll have to wait and see.
Got some great family folks out on the picnic areas down the, I believe that's down the first base line. Great place to watch a game.
Well, 2-1, we go to the bottom of the second inning, and Jared Dale leads things off. He's got an 8-game hitting streak. That is tied for the longest active in the league this year. It's the longest for a Melbourne Ace at any point this season. And Dale has been outstanding and takes strike 2 from Lachlan Wells. 393 average with a 1004 OPS over that 8-game run. And his average has raised all the way from 240 to 327. And he cracks this high, straightaway center field. But Fergus back in the shadows of the Melbourne Ballpark scoreboard. He makes the catch. And Jared Dale, that's allowed out number 1. He continues to hit the ball well, but here comes Chris Burke.
Yeah, you're not going to see many flying over that 370 mark in center field here. That would be a tremendous blast. But he did hit it well. And that, as you said, making contact is boding well for this game for the Aces.
Well, Wells allowed the first run. He's given up all season. RBI double from Robbie Glendenning in the first. This over to Spence. And a simple out number 2 for Wells, who settle in nicely for consecutive Aces retired. But Melbourne continues to put the ball in play. Wells came in with 41 strikeouts in 26 innings. He is without a strikeout through the first inning and 2/3. Still plenty of baseball left. Here comes George Khalil, who's playing quite well lately. Average up to 273 for George. Struggled in that series against Adelaide. Played 2 of the 3 games. He went 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. That's really the only time that George has struggled on the road this season. In fact, coming in, 364 hitter on the road, 136 here at home. So you'd expect those numbers to normalize at some point. George has some Melbourne Ballpark hits coming his way.
Maybe I should ask John Diebel about that. Maybe he would actually give me an answer on that, because that's a big disparity from over 300 to 136 in this ballpark. Very interesting. And
consider, too, again, the 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts in Adelaide.
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
That brings that number down quite a bit. That's how good Khalil has been away from home. Some guys just see the ball better in other ballparks than they might at home. Of course, pretty friendly batters I hear with just 6 black containers stacked up one by one out there in straightaway center. It could be a depth thing as well. Never really played the game, so it's tough for me to tell, but I picked up a few things from other players over the years. 2-2 with 2 outs. And Wells trying to retire his 5th consecutive Melbourne Ace. Here's the pitch. And this is popped up by Khalil. Knight coming in from right. And he makes the catch, 3 up, 3 down for Wells. 5 consecutive retired following the RBI double from Glendenning in the first. We go to the 3rd. The Giants lead it 2-1.
There's an unseen thread woven into the fabric of all Australian homes. It's our way of life. Sun-kissed days, afternoon storms, and memories shared with those we love. It's messy, but you bet we make it work. In the end, it's the simple things that make an Australian home home. And what did the trick then? It still does the job now. Hills, Australia's trusted clothesline since 1945.
Well, we're less than 2 months away for the first time since 2017. Team Australia playing right here in Melbourne. Don't miss your chance to catch the country's biggest stars in a 2-game exhibition series against the KBO's Hanwha Eagles right here at Melbourne Ballpark. For more information, visit melbourneaces.com.au. Ed, do you have any Hanwha Eagles trivia for me? Or is that...
I don't have any. I'm more of an LG Twins man myself from the Korean League. But no, great baseball. Going to be a lot of fun. You can see the crowd loving it.
Well, I mentioned Josh Altman's wife, Renee. There she is right there, Renee Altman.
That's great camera work.
And they have no idea, I doubt, that they just shot Renee. I'll have to.
You have to give her.
I'll have to send her a
up.
message
Absolutely.
and say, "Hey, you were just live worldwide on Aces
so
TV."
Great. But yeah, absolutely. Team Australia against Korea going to be huge, really big. Be a worldwide or an Asia-wide broadcast, I assume, which is great.
Well, we go to the third. 2-1 Adelaide. 2-run home run from Andrick Naba in the second. RBI double from Robbie Glendenning in the first. So Kynes and Wells, an outstanding pitching duel, but the offenses have fared pretty well in the early going. 2 strikes here to Cade Fergus, center fielder, who's had a tough go to start the season, a 194 batter through the first 6 rounds.
But you don't want to get him on because he's their leader in stolen bases.
Yes.
He's got 8 from 9 attempts. So keep him off the base paths.
Well, he rips this down the left field line.
That's trouble.
Well, get to the base of the wall. Fergus with good speed. And he's standing at second with a leadoff double.
Yeah, you could see that speed as he flew around first.
Well, he told us, and Phil Hurton, who does a great job with Adelaide and provided us with an outstanding collection of information. He basically said that Cade Fergus is here to do one thing, that's one thing only, hit. He hasn't really done that yet. He had a great year, the power numbers in the Phillies organization this past American summer. But the irony is, while he hasn't quite swung the bat like he might have hoped coming to Australia, he has been so productive when he's been on the base paths, and he's there once again with a leadoff double. This is stroked well out to left field. Burke, though, reaches up on the warning track to make the catch. Good base running by Fergus. You can see that speed tagging. He's easily into third. So now, with a runner 90 feet away and 1 out, here comes Liam Spence.
Yeah, that you could just tell looking at Fergus run how fast he is.
That's a really nice catch by Burke, too.
Sorry to interrupt.
Left
yeah,
field.
absolutely. And I'm just going to say a similar fly on this, at this point, probably scores Fergus with that speed from third.
The infield end. Spence 0 for 1 with a ground out. One out with a man at third here in the top of the third inning. 2-1. The Giants on top. And a good pitch from Gunnar on the outside corner. It's 1-1. Kynes 4 strikeouts already tonight. He could use another one right here.
Indeed.
5th round pick of the Cubs is Liam Spence back in 2021. And a couple of years back actually reached AAA Iowa as well. So you don't quite want to say he's been on the cusp because you see a lot of that over in the USA where prospects will get up to double a AAA for a few games and maybe it's just to fill a roster spot or for all kinds of different reasons. But he has played in AAA baseball, just one step below the major leagues. And the hope for the Geelong kid is that that dream one day could come to fruition.
Yeah, and you talk to guys who've done that leap from AA to AAA is big. That leap from AAA to the majors is even bigger. It's very tricky. It looks better on paper when there's so many factors, as you mentioned.
Here's the 2-2. Into right field. Should be deep enough. Bannister makes the catch and doesn't even think about it. Fergus tags, trots in, and the Giants cash in on a leadoff double, a sac fly from Spence, and Adelaide has a 3-1 lead here in the third.
He did his job, really. You got the speedster on third, really. Anything other than a shallow fly was going to score him. That was perfectly played by Liam Spence, and it's 3-1 as you mentioned.
Well, the slate now clean. 2 outs, nobody on. Here's Quincy Lattimore. Fly to center his first time. And this time he lifts it out to Burke. Mile high fly ball, but Burke there in the end, and the inning is over. Leadoff double comes around, and it's 3-1 Adelaide. We go to the bottom of the third from Melbourne Ballpark.
All-Star Access Hire are your access equipment specialists. We have an extensive range of state-of-the-art equipment, and we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding customer service. We have the youngest fleet of equipment in Victoria, and we are consistently adding new machines. We get to know our customers and form partnerships with them. This video is of our partnership with the Victorian Government at Reservoir Station. All-Star Access Hire are proud sponsors of the Melbourne Aces and our All-Star Bar.
Well, the Giants have a 3-1 lead. We go to the bottom of the third. Lachlan Wells back out. The left-hander has retired 5 in a row after the RBI double from Robbie Glendenning. The first run he's allowed all season. That was in the bottom of the first. And then 2 on the Nava home run. And Liam Spence with a sacrifice fly in the third. So 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the third, and that is a heaping plate of nachos. It looks quite good with my empty stomach on a busy evening.
Nachos, a big burger.
That is not as appetizing as a base and dirt. Still a good shot. You can tell just how much use. I mean, yeah, we do the Aces games, but there are so many club games that happen at this ballpark throughout the week, and not just here, but also on the backfield. McWern and his excellent crew do a great job, not just on game days, but throughout the week to make sure that this ballpark is ready to go. And it's nice to be back for the first time since the 1st of December. Mitch Edwards leads off here in the bottom of the third. Edwards followed by Bannister and Whitefield. That is 9-1-2. Lachlan Wells back on the mound for the first time in a couple of years. 5th year in the ABL for him. First 4 of those came with Sydney. He took the last couple of years off for personal reasons, and just 26 years of age with numbers that will raise any eyebrow, any rank across the baseball world. You wonder what's next for Lachlan Wells. He's spoken about this, hoping, or at least for him, hoping this is a springboard back into the Team Australia ranks. I'm hard-pressed to think that that'd be too difficult for him the way he's pitched.
He's off
but
to a good start.
I think the big question is, what's next for him? This is crushed way out towards left field. The track, the wall, and this is gone. Mitch Edwards, his first as a Melbourne Ace, no doubt about it, out to left. And the first home run allowed for Wells in this league since 2013. It's 3-2 now in the bottom of the third.
That certainly is a big home run, Mitch Edwards. That's a good way to endear yourself to your new teammates, isn't it? With a blast over the left field fence. And again, hate to keep reiterating it, but we did suspect with that wind blowing from right to left that we might see some blasts over that fence as opposed to the right field, which we often see here in Melbourne Ballpark.
That brings up Zion Bannister. Ground ball pulled over to third. Here's Ward. Throw across in time. 1 out here in the third following the leadoff home run from Mitch Edwards. It's the 5th time this year that the Melbourne Ace has hit a leadoff home run in any inning. And Edwards, I think, knew that off the bat. No doubt about it. I mean, Lattimore went back, but he had no chance at the wall.
You could tell. You just that close-up shot of Mitch's face. He knew that was gone.
A very similar home run to the one we saw from Nava in the second. Here's Aaron Whitefield with one out, nobody on base, but one run in on the solo home run from Mitch Edwards in his Aces debut at this ballpark. Edwards did not play for the Aces when they were here in early December against Brisbane. 1-1 to Whitefield. And a flare over towards first, foul ground, Wingrove back, and it is
got it.
Caught. I couldn't see that through the netting, but yeah, he made the catch.
Great work.
2 outs. I did not see that, Ed.
It was right up against the fence down that right field line. Very difficult. Going back over his head. That's a really nice catch from Rickson Wingrove. So you'll just be able to see normally that would be out of play if the wind was going left to right, but tonight it's not. It was able to hold it in, and Wingrove makes a play. Even though we didn't see a great view of it there, that wind held it up when normally it's going to drift into that all-star bar area. So a lot of little things we're seeing here, primarily due to that wind shift. Going to need a degree in meteorology before the night's over.
I was going to say, I need to get my notebook out. Another play. This time it's the second baseman, Spence, sliding down. And 2 outstanding plays and foul ground by the right side of the Adelaide infield. And the inning comes to an end. But the Aces, on the first home run allowed by Lachlan Wells in this league in a decade, are within 1. It's Mitch Edwards, his first as an ace. And we go to the 4th. It'll be Ed Wyatt to take you through innings 4, 5, and 6. Melbourne trailing by 1 at MVP.
One Love is there for the moments with the people you love the most. To share the highs and the lows together. It's the one for all people, all times, and all places. Brick Lane's One Love Pale Ale. It's the one for all.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. We are headed to the top of the 4th inning. Adelaide Giants 3, Melbourne Aces 2. I'm Ed Wyatt alongside Michael Dixon here on Aces TV, thanks to Sportscast Australia. Hope you're enjoying this one. Good game. Very good game. If you're a neutral, just tuning in around Australia or around the world, seeing a pretty good ball game between arguably the 2 best teams in the Australian Baseball League. Gunnar Kynes continuing on the mound. He'll face Rickson Wingrove, Josh Altman, and Jordan McArdle. And here is Wingrove. He was hit by a pitch the first time up, came around and scored the first Adelaide run of the game on that home run by Andrick Nava. Swing and a miss. 2 quick strikes on the big left-hander who made a great play just in the bottom of the 3rd inning down the right field line. That misses way outside. Ball 1, 1-2 strike. Probably didn't want to give Wingrove anything too good on that one.
Yeah, especially with 2 strikes.
There's a slow grounder to first. Bird makes the easy play. Gets his fellow first baseman out. 1 away.
You know, one thing I think we're seeing league-wide, and you'd probably agree with this, the first couple of weeks, the pitching staffs were so much better than the lineups were league-wide. I mean, it was pretty much impossible, it felt like, for teams to score much more than a couple of runs in a game outside of Adelaide. Giants had a great start to the season, and Josh Altman was a big reason why. But I think we're starting to see that normalize a little bit. And as the hitters get a little looser, perhaps we're going to see quite a few more runs down the stretch, because on paper, Kynes against Wells, this is a 1-0 game going into the 8th inning.
Yeah.
And you choose who scored the one run. I mean, it felt like that kind of pitching matchup on paper, but we've seen some hard contact, some hard hit balls, a couple of home runs already. So I think we're starting to see that shift.
Well, in particular, I would argue as well with these two teams who are, two really good offensive teams as well.
I was doing the numbers, though, and I was looking specifically at the month of December. Wanted to know where the Aces fit in as Altman walks here with one out and the 4th. But Melbourne's had a good month of December on offense. They lead the league in OPS. I mean, they've hit more home runs than anybody else in the month of December. But believe it or not, it's a team at the very bottom in Canberra that has been far and away the best offensive team in terms of the average and the on-base percentage in the month of December. So even the teams that through the first few weeks weren't great on offense or weren't near the top of the league, though everybody, it seemed like, was struggling, those teams are playing pretty darn well. And the one exception remains Sydney. I mean, the Blue Sox are on pace to be far and away the worst.
Really struggling.
Offensive team statistically in the history of the league. But everybody else, I think, is kind of starting to figure things out of the plate.
And the runner on first, who's going. Here's the throw. It's in the dirt. Gets into center field. Altman will stay at second. But walk and a stolen base for Altman puts him on second. One away, and McArdle is the batter.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago that Josh Altman became the first 25-homer, 20 stolen base player in Lincoln Salt Dog franchise history, and I remember that season quite well. So I know that Josh can run. The league knows he can run. Adelaide's been a very efficient base-running team this season, so no surprise to watch Josh go.
McArdle struck out looking his first time up.
It's also easier, too, to be more efficient on the base paths and be more aggressive on the base paths when you have a thicker lineup 1 through 9, because you don't have to worry about some lighter hitters at the bottom of your order and running into outs while those guys are at the plate. So when you're as good as Adelaide is, and as Melbourne has been 1 through 9, and the Aces have improved on the base paths the last couple of weeks, you can be more efficient and you can be more aggressive because you have more opportunities to run.
That's fouled out of play down the third base line. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jordan McArdle. Giants lead at 3-2. 5 total hits, couple of home runs. Very, very good ball game so far. Off-speed pitch that misses. 2-2. Good crowd at the ballpark tonight, as we mentioned. First of a 5-game series against Adelaide, with a makeup game on Saturday. The first game is part of a doubleheader. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Kynes to McArdle. Grounded to first. Bird's going to make the play. Altman moves down to third. 2 outs.
You feel like even in a game that's been a little higher scoring early on than we anticipated, that's a big run over there at third, because you don't want to continue to try and play catch-up from multiple run deficits with Wells on the mound and in general the Adelaide pitching staff, which has been very good this season. And so you get the home run from Edwards in the bottom of the third. You're within 1. You're looking for a shutdown inning. And now you got to face Andrick Nava, who Kynes gave up a 2-run home run against earlier in the ballgame.
22-year-old Venezuelan. In fact, our notes from Phil Herndon say a 22-year-old Venezuelan catcher known for his defensive capabilities. Well, certainly that. Well, tonight he's known for his offensive capabilities with that long shot over the left field fence that gave Adelaide 2 runs. That's hit the third, slow roller. Tough play. George up, fires to first, got him. Inning is over. Adelaide gets a man on, advances to third, but does not score. We will head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Adelaide still leading Melbourne 3-2.
Aussie gardeners are best served by Aussie tools, built specifically for our unique environment and conditions. Back in the 1890s, Leonard Chambers and William Thompson started a beekeeping supply business in Melbourne. Little would they know that their company would go on to change how Australians garden for well over a century. Cyclone is ingrained into our country's history and our way of life. Our tools are long-lasting and purpose-built for hard work.
We've been making quality tools for over a century.
They last that long, you can hand them down to the next generation.
Good, quality, honest product that the Australian people have grown to love.
It's not an Aussie shed without a Cyclone.
My biggest takeaway of being here for 34 years is just sense of pride in the product.
Australians buy good products. So if they keep on buying, we keep on making, so we're here.
Cyclone tools, made for Australians.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Boy, does that look comfy. Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Some of the VIP seats, if you will, behind home plate or down the line. It's just a great place to sit and watch a ball game. MelbourneAces.com.au if you want to grab a seat like that. I think that might be down the third baseline, those seats. Aces and Giants. Adelaide still leading 3-2 here at Melbourne Ballpark. Ed Wyatt, Michael Dixon with you. Greg Bird, Daryl George, Jared Dale for the Aces here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Against Lachlan Wells. Gave up his first run of the year and his first home run of the year, but now is back in front, 3-2.
Well, he gave up his first home run in a decade. He gave up his first run in what felt like a decade. So a couple of firsts for the Aces offense against Wells tonight.
Greg Bird grounded out to first, his first time up.
First ABL home run. Yeah, that is quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's actually behind home plate.
Do you think it? I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, you can see her turned around right behind the...
That's hit into the hole between second and short. Seeing eye single, they used to call that, as Bird ends up on first base. Nice work from the veteran.
Yeah, he's been scorching hot. Had a great series in Brisbane with 3 home runs. His first multi-homer game is a Melbourne Ace. And they overshift him, and he still finds a way regardless to beat it.
No kidding.
The ground ball right between the outstretched glove of both Altman and Spence. So for the third time in 4 innings, the Aces actually have the leadoff man aboard against Wells. One of those, of course, the leadoff home run from Edwards in the third.
So Bird on first. Daryl George steps up. He flew out to right field his first time up.
And now Daryl 3 home runs shy of that all-time franchise mark, sitting on 37 in his Aces career.
That's grounded in the hole, base hit into left field. First 2 men on.
Well, you really don't have to look too far beyond the box score to try and figure out what Wells is dealing with tonight. And he's simply just not missing Melbourne bats like he's missed opposition bats all season long. 41 strikeouts in 26 innings coming in. The Aces now have 2 runners on base with nobody out in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Wells is still looking for that first strikeout. So in every plate appearance, the Aces have put a ball in play. And it's been extremely difficult for the opposition to do that against this left-hander. Let's see if they ask Dale to lay down a bunt.
That's it, the third. Play is made over to second, throw to first, double play. That's a nice play from Nick Ward, who was down on his knees, came up, whipped it down to second and over to first for the double play, and that's a heartbreaker if you're an Aces fan right there.
Yeah, tough too. I mean, Dale coming in with an 8-game hitting streak, so he's been as hot as anybody in the league. And first pitch swinging, trying to ambush. It's actually a pretty good pitch to hit over the inside part of the plate, but Wells takes just enough off Dale can only ground it weakly over to Ward at third, and a very nice double play turn by the Giants. The 22nd double play turn by the Adelaide infield. Among the league leaders in that category in the ABL. That is a big double play for Wells and Adelaide. Let's see if Burke can come through with a runner at third, 2 outs.
Yeah, so 2 outs now, of course. Runner moves to third. But that's a way to diffuse a rally pretty quickly, is that double play. Burke grounded out to second his first time up. Sliced foul down the third base line. Quick 2 strikes on the left fielder.
And Burke had a really good series against Adelaide in Adelaide a few weeks ago. He went 4 for 11 with an RBI. Played in all 3 games of that series. Giants won 2 of the 3, but it was pretty tight, it felt like, throughout. Last game of that 4-game set washed out. That's what they'll have to make up on Saturday evening.
That's low in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of 4. Adelaide Giants 3, Melbourne Aces 2. Just misses high and outside, 2-2.
Well, Wells has had a few of those that he thought were definitive strike 3 and hadn't gotten a call from Umeki behind the plate. Well, we've seen him multiple times stepping towards that third base dugout thinking that
that's it.
Yep.
2-2 pitch. Burke stays alive. That one's going to drop and bounce back in, and what a catch. Sign him up. Just sitting there minding his own business. Ball pops into him, makes the catch.
We'll put him in the outfield. We'll put you in John Diebel's spot for a game.
I think we've already figured out that that's not a great idea. Not putting him in, putting me in John Diebel's spot. That's grounded, broken bat. Ward at third, fires to first, low, but makes the play. The double play initiated by Ward, and then Ward makes the final out here. So we will head to the top of the 5th inning. Giants still lead the Aces 3-2.
All-Star Access Hire are your access equipment specialists. We have an extensive range of state-of-the-art equipment, and we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding customer service. We have the youngest fleet of equipment in Victoria, and we are consistently adding new machines. We get to know our customers and form partnerships with them. This video is of our partnership with the Victorian Government at Reservoir Station. All-Star Access Hire are proud sponsors of the Melbourne Aces and our All-Star Bar.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. The 5th inning is brought to you by Crew Fitness and Performance with a more than vision. What drives the Crew team and its members is a dedication to community and an eagerness to be surrounded by a personal growth culture. Stop into their location in Braybrook or Hoppers Crossing to see for yourself. Crew Fitness and Performance, a proud sponsor of the Melbourne Aces. Top of the 5th inning, Giants still lead 3-2. The crowd having a pretty good time here on a cool night, but a nice night at the ballpark, and a good crowd here.
Well, nice job on your first read back at 3.5 weeks. I thought you did a good job on that one.
I think I've been practicing at home, getting ready, preparing, just like the players.
Looking in the mirror?
Yeah, looking in the mirror. Not liking what I see. Briley Knight leads things off here. The 22-year-old Australian-American. Unlike America, if you're born in Australia, you're not automatically an Australian citizen. That's hit sharply down the right field line, but it's going to drift foul into the bullpen, in fact.
Boy, that had the distance
Sure
off the
did.
bat. I didn't think that
Sure did.
was as dangerous as it ended up being, but that would have comfortably cleared that 300 sign if it was just a few feet closer to the line. But
someone out there made a leaping effort to grab it in the bullpen, unsuccessful.
Thankfully, I might add, it was on the opposite side of the line.
Next pitch is high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So, yeah, if you're born in the U.S., you're automatically an Australian citizen. If you're born in Australia, you're not. So, Knight, born here in Perth, but grew up in the States. That's another high pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck out his first time up in the 2nd inning. Adelaide only had 2 hits, but 3 runs. That's a grounder to George. Fires it over to Bird at first. 1 away. So 1 away for Kynes here in the top of the 5th, and it brings up Cade Fergus. Doubled his first time up.
Yeah, and I think that Gunner's done a pretty good job, actually, in response to that double. He had the fly out to the warning track and left from Ward, and Fergus, one of the few base runners in the league who tags from second and gets to third there. George coming in to protect against the bunt, and that has hit a long way but foul. But after that, the sac fly, runner at third, 1 out. It happens.
Yep.
And then Lattimore retired in that 3rd inning, and then 4 the next 5 batters retired via the ground out. The exception was the walk to Josh Altman. But Gunner has done, I thought, a pretty good job in response to that double from Fergus that resulted in what is right now the difference-making run in a 3-2 ball game.
Getting those continued shots of the Melbourne Aces bullpen there with number of pitchers up and stretching. No one in any throwing situation yet, but definitely some stretching going on. So Kynes maybe gets through this one and the next one, maybe the 6th, and then we see a change. We'll see. There you go, some of those shots from the bullpen. That is outside. Ball 2.
I believe that was Christian James. They are not warming up to go into the game. In fact, I think that they'll be just fine to sit where they are. The sun's disappeared on us, Ed.
Oh, inside. Strike.
Got that great shot of the clouds.
There
Look
we
at that.
go. Yeah, sun is gone.
Got some heavier clouds overhead. That's
no
kind of
threat
stuff.
of rain, though.
No, at least hopefully not. But they've been saying basically the opposite of what's been happening at the MCG during the test against Pakistan.
Yeah, it's very true. As Fergus goes down swinging, you're right. No rain expected. Wake up, it's raining.
And then they say, oh, it's probably going to rain about lunchtime.
Yeah.
And no rain fell. Through 3 days of that test.
4th strikeout of the night. Actually, 5th strikeout of the night for Gunnar Kynes, if I've done my stats right. 5. Top of the order now, Nick Ward. Strikeout and a flyout. A couple of big plays last inning, starting the double play and then finishing with a scoop of a grounder and a throw to first. So he had a hand in pretty much all the outs. Kynes to Ward, fouled back over the grandstand.
You talked about maybe one more inning after this from Kynes, but we really haven't seen John Diebel stretch his starters out much further than about 5, maybe 6 innings. I think we've seen 6 innings on 3 different occasions, and that's it.
No, you're right.
And we're talking about a starting pitching staff that has been outstanding, a pitching staff as a whole that has been outstanding through the first 6 rounds of the season. So it would not at all be surprising to see this turn into a bullpen game pretty quickly for both teams.
That's low. Count is 3-1 now on Nick Ward.
You can say the same thing about Wells on the other side. 5 starts. And as good as he's been, just the 26 total innings. So he's averaging just north of 5 innings per outing.
So 2 out walk to Nick Ward. That'll bring up Liam Spence, who's grounded out had that sacrifice fly in the third inning.
And
Second walk.
Sorry about that, Ed.
Night for Gunnar Kynes.
His second walk tonight, and he came in with 2 total walks, too. So he might be fighting it just a little bit. Had some struggles in Brisbane last week. A lot of that generated with a long ball. And tonight, really, he's pitched pretty well outside of a couple of mistakes. The 2-run home run, the sharp double from Fergus. But he does have a couple of walks. We don't really see much of that from Gunnar Kynes. 2 walks in 18 innings altogether coming in. So Gunnar might be trying to battle through it just a little bit right now, and those walks, an indication of that.
Fouled out of play. Also, remember in the second inning, hit Rickson Wingrove.
Yes.
So 2 walks and 1 hit. Batter to go with 5 strikeouts.
But when you're as good and commanding your pitches as Gunnar Kynes is, even the slightest struggle will obviously notice because he hardly walks anybody to begin with.
Yeah,
so
very good point. Oh, they've got the runner now. Throw down to second. Got him. Nice work for the Aces, and the threat is ended here in the top of the 5th inning as Ward is caught in a rundown. We'll watch quickly on the replay. Kynes saw it right away, went to Bird. Bird went down to Glendenning, and that'll get it done. So we will head to the bottom of the 5th inning. No runs here. It's still 3-2 in favor of Adelaide.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
That, my friends, is the party deck. And you can book that if you'd like to come see a game and watch from there and drink your favorite beverage. melbourneaces.com.au. Really, really good place to watch a ball game. We did our pregame from there, Michael Dixon, and had a lot of fun. That's the All-Star Bar area down along the first base line. And that is another great place to watch a ball game because you've got food right behind you, food and drink, and picnic tables there to sit and watch. Maverick out there talking to a few folks. More people enjoying the game. Aces trail the Adelaide Giants 3-2. We'll see George Khalil, Mitch Edwards, who had the home run in the 3rd, and top of the order Zion Bannister against Lachlan Wells. Good bunt. No, at his foot. Oh, tough break for Khalil.
I was wondering why there wasn't a little more urgency from Wells coming in. He knew, obviously, it was a foul ball, but from where we are, that looked like an outstanding bunt.
It was down so slowly. It's like, no way they're going to get him. But it went off his foot. We couldn't really see that there, but quick strike on George Khalil. Swing and a miss. Quick 2 strikes on George Khalil. He flew out to right field his first time up.
Boy, look at that shot. Cyclone tool shed down the left field line.
Fastball high, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Adelaide, 3 runs, 2 hits. Aces, 2 runs, 5 hits. And Khalil goes down swinging 1 away. First strikeout of the night for Lachlan Wells.
Yeah, you knew it was only a matter of time. He had 41 of those in 26 innings coming in. So Wells with a strikeout, plenty of those for him this season. But The Aces have seen Wells well. He has given up plenty of contact. The inning right now that you're circling in a 3-2 game is the fourth for Melbourne when they had 2 on, nobody out with back-to-back singles, and Jared Dale first pitch swinging, bounced into the 5-4-3 double play. But the opportunities have been there. The Aces have taken advantage of those opportunities as well.
Mitch Edwards now hit that home run in the 3rd inning. And no doubt about it, he made contact and it was gone. Be a good time for another one. Is that too much to ask for? Swing and a miss.
Well, that fastball had some zip on it.
Sure
up
did.
and in.
Sure did.
The Aces are actually out hitting the Giants 5-2. So Adelaide with 3 runs on just the 2 hits.
Low in the dirt.
This is a rare 3-ball count for Lachlan
Yeah,
Wells. 3
sure
walks
is.
in 26 innings coming in.
Yeah, 3-1.
Hasn't walked the batter tonight.
It's foul tip. Edwards stays alive. Count moves to full, 3-2. It's a 5-game series. We mentioned that before. The game tomorrow night, doubleheader on Saturday, and then a final game 1 p.m. on Sunday. It's popped up, should be playable. Knight in, calls off the second baseman Spence, makes the out. 2 down.
Well, Wells has now retired 4 consecutive batters after the back-to-back singles from Bird and George to begin that 4th inning. Dale bounced into the 5-4-3 double play that was well turned by Adelaide. Ward made a really nice play at third to start that going around the horn, but then the ground out from Burke. Khalil strikes out, Edwards flies out. Wells is settling in here in this 5th inning.
Zion Bannister rips a shot down the third base line all the way out to the fence. Zion's into second. Stand-up double. Second hit of the night for Big Z.
I mean, the numbers are undeniable, I think. The average 235, you'd think perhaps that would be a little higher. But, again, when they were trying to figure out where to put Zion Bannister in the lineup, I thought it was clear his best role was as the leadoff man. And you see he gets a breaking ball up in the zone and doesn't try and do too much with it. He's just trying to be the catalyst, 2 outs, trying to keep the inning moving along for the big hitters coming through. And he's now hitting around 350 from the leadoff spot.
It's amazing.
With an OPS north of 900. So Zion Bannister clearly is most comfortable in that spot, and he has been one of the best, if not the best, leadoff hitter when he's been there in the lineup this season.
Brings up Aaron Whitefield, ground out and a pop out, both to first base. So he's due here with Zion on second and 2 outs. Aces need a run to tie it. Swing and a miss.
Boy, heavy fastballs. We've seen a couple of those now from Wells in this 5th inning.
Yeah.
Elevated heat. That is so difficult for hitters to try and do something with.
One pitch. Wells to Whitefield. Swing and a miss. Another fastball. Wells trying to work out of a jam here. 2 outs. Bannister on second.
It's Joey Steele starting to warm up for Melbourne.
There is some action in the bullpen.
But in no urgency, so you'd think Gunnar would come back out for the 6th.
Whitefield stays alive with a foul ball sliced down the first baseline. We'll do it again. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Adelaide 3, Melbourne 2. Thursday night baseball. Good crowd here at Melbourne Ballpark. It's grounded to third. Ward comes in. He's going to throw to first. Makes the play. Wells gets out of the inning. Gives up a double to Bannister, but gets out of it. And we will head to the top of the 6th inning with the score still Adelaide Giants 3, Melbourne Aces 2. Back after this.
One Love is there for the moments with the people you love the most. To share the highs and the lows together. It's the one for all people, all times, and all places. Brick Lane's One Love Pale Ale. It's the one for all.
Oh, we've been there for every game of 4 and 25. When Meatloaf overcooked it and Gregan saved that try. When Brownie takes one for the team and Bradley skated by. This golden crusty pastry watched as Taylor kicked the sky. When Ben Simmons makes a 3, we give a big high five. What future sport looks like just won't be right without a pie. Oh, what a lovely pie, me mates are 4 and 25.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Ed Wyatt, Michael Dixon with you. There are the lights coming on here at the ballpark on a nice night. A little bit overcast, but certainly not any of the weather we saw earlier in the season where we had to fight a little bit of rain here and there. Here are the ABL standings, Michael, and it is pretty tight, isn't it?
I mean, you see for yourself why this series is so important, but
exactly.
You also see 4 teams kind of separating themselves. Sydney comes in 5.5 games out of a playoff spot. Canberra 7 games out. Not quite out of it yet, but running out of time pretty quickly. And, 5.5 games back with, 16 games to go.
Tough ask.
It's a tough ask for sure. So by no means am I going to sit here on the 28th of December and declare the 4 playoff teams decided, but I do think we've got 4 pretty clear playoff favorites.
Spence steps in and hits that one hard back towards the warning track in deep left center, but Whitefield is there. Long out. Liam Spence really got hold of that.
And if you're Melbourne, too, you still have a couple of home series against those 2 teams at the bottom of the standings. So Sydney comes to Melbourne Ballpark next week. Canberra's in Melbourne for the final week of the regular season. So that run to the finish line, as much as we talk about this series being so important, and it is, because you do have to win these head-to-head matchups with the teams that you're chasing and trying to leapfrog. But, the schedule does line up decently well for the Aces, I think, down the stretch. And
that's a really good point.
It's going to be a sprint to the finish line for these 4 teams. I think anyone could finish in that top spot.
Here's Quincy Lattimore. 2 quick strikes on him.
And we get a rare overshift, too, with 3 on the left side of the infield. Haven't seen John Diebel do a whole lot of this. Of course, we haven't seen John Diebel for 3.5 weeks, so I want to be careful with how we say that, but you do have 3 on the left side against Lattimore.
That's hit in the exact same spot. Whitefield back again on the warning track and makes the catch. Almost an exact replica of the previous long ball from Spence.
And Lattimore's having one of those nights, seeing Gunnar Kynes going back and forth, chuckling with one another, because that's 3 loud flyouts for Lattimore. At least a couple of loud outs, and he had a mile-high fly ball out to left field in the 3rd. So Lattimore's probably saying, I'm just missing you. I'm just missing you. And Kynes is saying, well, you're still going back to the dugout.
Here's Rickson Wingrove, hit by pitch and scored in the 2nd. And he grounds that straight to Greg Bird. And just like that, it's a 1-2-3 inning for Gunnar Kynes. Nice work from the veteran left-hander. We will head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Giants still lead the Aces 3-2. Back after this.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Sweet Caroline rocking the house here. Aces trail the Adelaide Giants 3-2. Now remember, for the first time since 2017, Team Australia is playing right here in Melbourne. Don't miss your chance to catch the country's biggest stars in a 2-game exhibition series against the KBO's Hanwha Eagles right here at Melbourne Ballpark. There it is, 17th and 18th of February. For more information, melbourneaces.com.au. Robbie Glendenning, Greg Bird, Daryl George. Bottom of the 6th, the Aces need a run to tie. That one's fouled straight back into the net. Glendenning double and a pop out tonight, so he's 1 for 2. In fact, the next 3 batters this inning, Michael, all have a hit tonight. Glendenning, Bird, and George.
You know, I was watching quite a bit of football over the holiday break because it came at a decent time, and so
sure did.
A lot of next-gen stats, and I think that qualifies as a next-gen stat. Each of the 3 guys coming through having a hit. Good job, Ed.
We're going to sponsor for that.
An Ed Gen stat. There we go.
I like it. There's a shot of Daryl George waiting very casually. Looks like he's waiting for an Uber. Just sitting there with his hand on the back. There's a shot of Lachlan Wells delivering. That's a grounder to short. Altman over, makes the play, 1 away.
I think Daryl George would be a very nice Uber customer. If he got in your car, he'd be a very easy guy to talk to.
He's a class act, no doubt about it. Here's Greg Bird, grounded out in the 1st inning, singled in the 4th inning, got on base, and that double play ended his time on the base pass as he takes ball 1. So Lachlan Wells, into his 6th inning, has given up 6 hits, 2 runs. It's been pretty good. That's low, ball 2. Only 1 strikeout, but hasn't walked anybody.
Joey Steele fully up and warming, so you'd think that's the end of the line for Gunnar Kynes.
Yep. Bird looks at a strike, 2 balls, 1 strike to the veteran who has been on a tear lately.
And if we do indeed see Steele in the 7th, that'd be a quality start for Kynes. 6 innings, 3 runs allowed.
Swing and a miss, big cut there, 2-2.
Yeah,
Didn't you say Bird told you that the team was going to give us something to get excited about? I think you said that.
I saw him before they left in one of their training days out here, and I said I'll be watching in Sydney.
Swing and a miss. That's good work from Wells. 2 balls and then 3 quick strikes on Bird.
Well, he asked if I was coming because we were there in Adelaide, so saw some of the guys. It's a small ballpark in Adelaide, so you can pretty much tell just about anybody who's there. You know, you can't hide at the ballpark they play in. So he saw me and he's like, "Yeah, I saw you in Adelaide. You know, you coming to Sydney?" I said, "Unfortunately not. I'll be watching, tweeting, all that stuff from home." So I said, "Do something exciting for me." And he said, "Well, I'll try." And sure enough, he hit a grand slam.
Yeah. Daryl George now. Fly out in a single.
Speaking of Greg Bird, too, he comes in with a 6-game RBI streak, 14 RBIs over that 6-game run.
Crazy.
That's how good he has been producing runs the last couple of weeks.
Off-speed pitch there that George fouls back. 2 quick strikes on Daryl. 3-2 lead for Adelaide. Here comes that replay of that pitch from Lachlan Wells. Just a little bit of a cutter. George gets it. Woo! Little wake-up call for the camera behind home plate.
Well, that reaction from Daryl would lead you to believe he felt like he missed one.
That's hit hard into right field. Knight turned around a little bit, but gets there. Briley Knight initially lost it, did a little bit of a 360, but youngster made the catch there. Had a feeling that might drop, but it didn't. So we will head to the top of the 7th inning. Michael Dixon will take over the play-by-play duties again, and the score remains. Adelaide 3, Melbourne 2. Back with Aces TV after this.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialties. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
There's an unseen thread woven into the fabric of all Australian homes. It's our way of life. Sun-kissed days, afternoon storms, and memories shared with those we love. It's messy, but you bet we make it work. In the end, it's the simple things that make an Australian home home. And what did the trick then? Still does the job now.
Hills, Australia's trusted clothesline since 1945.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Sun poking through a little bit still over the west. And
boy, how about
a couple
that
of
shot?
Fans on the party deck. That is a great shot. Really good shot. Aces trail 3-2 here as we look at Joey Steele, number 35, getting ready to come on here, Michael.
Yeah, Joey's pitched very well this year, 1-1 with a 2.40 ERA. 4 walks and 18 strikeouts in 15 innings. I don't want to say I told you so at the beginning of the year, but when I told you that there was a pretty good chance there would be quite a few more strikeouts than innings for Joey Steele.
Yep.
There have been, with 18 in 15 innings. And a pitching change, of course, as always, brought to you by Punt 1-2-3. And the last time we saw the Aces here, you might remember Joey Steele gave up that grand slam in Game 1 against Brisbane. He has not allowed a run since on a season best stretch right now of 8 consecutive scoreless innings. So Joey Steele has pitched very well of late, very well in the month of December. Can't tell if that's a selfie or if they're trying to take a photo of the field.
I think it's a selfie.
And there was a jersey in front of that pair. I want to say it was Koji Iwahara, but we'll have to try and get additional confirmation. Josh Altman takes inside for ball 1. What a good night at the ballpark tonight.
Beautiful.
Thursday night, tad bit chilly with that wind, and the sun has disappeared, the clouds overhead, but what a welcome back for the Aces and the Adelaide Giants as they start this critical 5-game series.
I always tell people when you come to the ballpark, just bring a jacket. Bring a jacket or a wind cheater just in case, even if it's really hot. Just pack one away, bring it along. It does get cool out here at night.
Swing and a miss from Altman, who is 0 for 1 with a walk in the game. And when I first got here, very, very good friend of mine who I actually met over in the States. I met her family and her aunt and uncle. We all went to dinner one night, and we were talking about the weather. And, this was still late October, so it was still, it wasn't quite summertime yet. But you would think, in theory, perhaps maybe it's starting to warm up. And Maria, or Mimi as she's called, said, this is basically San Francisco weather-wise. And
it's a very good comment.
I now understand fully what she means, because we've had to close the window here in our booth. There's a pretty breaking ball from Joey Steele. So a strikeout of Josh Altman, and one away here in the 7th inning. That is strikeout number 19 for Steele this year. But you're absolutely right. In fact, there you go. There's a blanket.
Yeah, there we go. That's
a
right.
lot of hoodies, a lot of jackets
and
out.
San Francisco, the very same way. If you're in a place like San Jose or Palo Alto where it's really hot, and then you go to San Francisco, wind, cold, it just happens that way.
It's
not
the way
that
it is
bad here, but it does get windy and cold. So just bring a wind cheater. It doesn't get that cold. Wow, that's hard. Hit just above the camera. You can see the Sportscast Australia camera person down there. And look at that ball in the net.
Look at that shot.
Someone's just going to walk down. Do you mind if I have it? Sure, why not? Very enterprising young woman in green down there. Walk down. Can I grab that ball? Camera person says, sure, you got a ball. Got to be proactive in this world, Michael.
That's a good. This is struck out to left center.
Hit.
Yeah, that is down for a hit. Whitefield cuts it off, and McCardle held to a long single, so 1 on, 1 out. First base runner allowed by Joey Steele, and 3-2 Adelaide.
Only the third hit of the night.
Those are some Adelaide Giant colored cleats, if I've ever seen them. The red and the blue.
I don't know about the purple laces, though.
Was that purple or was that blue? I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe it's blue. Looked purple to me, but. And here's the man that did the damage in the second inning with that home run, Andrick Nava.
Oof. And he rips this into right field. That dunks down for a base hit. So McCardle at second, Nava at first, 2 on, 1 out. Nava 2 for 3 here tonight. Here comes Briley Knight with the Giants up 3-2. And as good as Adelaide has been all year, I'm sure the Giants would love a run or two of insurance here in the top of the 7th inning.
That's why I think we've got a little mound conference there to get things situated, maybe settle down Joey Steele a little bit. Looks like James Corden in the crowd. I don't think it is, but taking some time out from carpool karaoke to come over here and watch some baseball.
You know, Tony Shebeki, the voice of Melbourne Ballpark, talking about celebrities that were supposed to be here. Jessica Mendoza was supposed to be here tonight, and unfortunately,
yes,
the way that their travel arrangements unfolded, it couldn't happen. They had to leave today instead of leaving tomorrow, but she was supposed to be here throwing out the first pitch and everything, and we would have had to have had her on for an inning. And
undoubtedly.
You'd have a borderline broadcast superstar here in the booth, and
you and I would be brawling over who would have to leave and
well, you left for the first guest, so I'd be happy to
I
give
think
up
she
my
went
seat.
to Stanford too, didn't she? So maybe that.
Did she?
I think she did.
So
I could play that card.
You could have taken that interview. You got a lot more interviewing prowess under your belt, so I would have happily yielded my seat for that inning. But I would have been standing in the back listening intently instead of running around the ballpark. I didn't know that until today. Jessica Mendoza was supposed to be here at the ballpark.
It's a bummer.
Would have been awesome. Here's the 0-2. Well, that's a pretty pitch. Really nice on 0-2, and a good take there from Briley Knight, who's 0-2 with the strikeout and a ground out. 2 on and 1 out. 3-2 in the top of the 7th.
Steele wanted that one, and with good reason.
Here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss. Totally fooled him. Paints a fastball on the outside corner, and you could tell Knight just wasn't ready for it. Very defensive swing, and now 2 strikeouts for Joey Steele. Trying to work around a couple of 2-out singles, or a couple of singles now with 2 outs, and here comes Cade Fergus. Well, Fergus in the game 1 for 2 with a double, a strikeout, and a run scored. McCardle at second and Nava at first.
Big out here, really. Number 9 hitter. Obviously has doubled, but get him taken care of here and end this threat as soon as you can if you're Joey Steele.
You know, it really is amazing how much quicker the game is. And that's another good example of the batter through some confusion still, keeping 1 foot in the box. Of course, Fergus has had the new rules overseas. Joey Steele has pitched with the new rules as well. The whole game has just tightened up. And there's a pitch, I think, that umpire Mr. Umeki hasn't really given a whole lot tonight, but
yeah, he gave it there, didn't he?
He gave it to Joey Steele, and the Aces will take that. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 on, 2 out, 3-2 here in the top of the 7th inning. Game 1 of this 5-game series. Game 2 tomorrow night. Hopefully you'll join us. If not on the broadcast, at the ballpark. Wow. Check swing, appeal down to first. And yeah, he went. First base umpire Kingo Iwashita rings him up, and now Joey Steele has a strikeout away from getting through this jam. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Giants. 2 of those have come in this 7th inning. 2 runs on 6 hits for the Aces. Melbourne 7-4 in the 11 games they played on the road in between their last series here and this series opener against Adelaide. And a 1-2 swing and a miss, strike 3. Joey Steele with a beautiful breaking ball. And he gets around a couple of singles, 3 strikeouts in the 7th. And the beat continues now, 9 consecutive scoreless innings for the right-hander. We stretch here in Melbourne, 3-2. The Aces trail on Aces TV.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
At U-Blinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. U-Blinds Australia, more value for you.
Well, it's a punt 1-2-3 pitching change here in the last of the 7th inning. And the right-hander, number 43, Josh Bortka, takes over for the Adelaide Giants. And look at that shot. What a gorgeous look at the end of the party deck and also the clouds overhead in Altona and Laverton and all of Melbourne's West. Really nice Thursday night crowd taking in Game 1 of this 5-game series. You can tell Aces fans missed their ball club after the Aces played 3 consecutive road series. But they are back, folks, dancing, smiling, trying to stay warm with a little chill in the air, especially now that the sun is gone, the clouds are overhead. But it was a pretty good effort with the chicken dance behind the Aces dugout.
I can tell you, I was working for a show in Portland years ago, and I was in a a wool suit. It was and it was one of those winter days where it got really hot, and I had to go down to the State Fair in Salem and do the chicken dance in a wool suit. It was one of the worst memories of my life on television. It was terrible. I was sweating. I'm I don't think they wanted the wool suit back at the end of the day. I'll be honest with you. But every time I hear the chicken dance, brings back that memory.
I think I told you this off the air one time when we were talking about Tacoma, Washington, and you brought up a gorilla or something like that.
Ivan, the gorilla at the B&I.
And I said, of all the people that I've known, especially worked with over the years, of all the people, you are probably number 1 in me having no idea where you're going when you start a story. And that would qualify right there because you clearly take over. You've got something to add with the chicken dance. And we're just talking about the folks having a good time. And all of a sudden we're talking about Ed doing the chicken dance in a wool suit in Salem, Oregon. That's what you get on this broadcast, whether you like it or not. 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
Good pitch from Bortka.
A big righty, yeah. He's had a really good season, 7 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run. Walks have been a slight issue for him. Opponents batting just 185. He's got 10 strikeouts this season. And that ends the evening for Lachlan Wells. So Wells gives up the first 2 runs he's allowed this season, but he still pitches quite well. 6 innings, 6 hits allowed with the 2 runs. No walks, 2 strikeouts, and this way up and in. Jared Dale got out of the way somehow, some way. Dale is 0 for 2 with a flyout. He's bounced into a double play. He's got an active 8-game hitting streak, which is tied for the longest in the league. One more look. Goodness gracious.
That was high. Scary high, that one.
Dale, Burke, and Khalil coming through in the bottom of the 7th.
Good eye. Very good eye from Dale. Remember, we're sort of in that walks as good as a hit territory at the moment, especially for a leadoff batter. Just get a base runner on here.
Chris Burke looming on deck. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Pretty breaking ball there from Bortka.
Sure was.
And the right-hander sits down Dale. Only the third strikeout for Aces hitting tonight. But one out, nobody on base. Here comes Chris Burke.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Michael. It's the Aces really have out-hit the Adelaide Giants, but the scoreboard doesn't lie when you see 3 runs for Adelaide and 2 for Melbourne.
Well, we talked about this early on in the game, too. It was one of those, on paper, really good pitching duels. And both offenses were productive early. Melbourne took a 1-0 lead on the RBI double from Glendenning in the first, and the 2-run home run from Nava made it 2-1 Adelaide in the second. Giants added another on a sac fly in the third, and then Mitch Edwards hit his first Aces home run. Make it 3-2 in the bottom of the third. We have not seen a run since. Still 3-2 as we play in the bottom of the seventh. Burke behind 0-2. He's 0 for 2 in the game. And he fights this off. We'll do it again.
196 centimeters or 6'5", 6'5.5" for Bortka. Big, tall right-hander.
Yeah, he looks the part, doesn't he?
Sure does.
2 strikes, 1 out. Now the fastball is high. You know, I told you there's another shot. I think that's a handful of the Adelaide player wives and girlfriends.
Got an Adelaide beanie on, so yeah, I think you're right.
I definitely know that's Renee Altman. There's a couple of more there. But you and I having fun. After I went to the Boxing Day test on what was that, Tuesday, and I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun.
Where'd you sit? Just in the...
I sat in the upper deck and then actually moved down after the rain delay. So I got a little cricket from the lower level, which is cool. And I didn't know much at all about cricket before I came, but I started watching the World Cup, and I really enjoyed watching the World Cup, and I enjoyed watching the test. And I called third strike up the zone. Burke upset, and I think he has an argument. That looked a little high, but back-to-back strikeouts for Bortka, and there are 2 outs in the bottom of the seventh. But we get another look here. Oh, that's a good pitch.
Yeah, I think it is.
There. But I got a book for Christmas, too. It's about Australian sportscasting, a lot of it about cricket. And so I decided the last 2 days I've been listening to the voice of summer, Jim Maxwell, and he's just awesome. But, man, in those 5-day test matches where there is a lot of downtime, it is total silly time in the booth. And it has completely reinvigorated my desire to just be wheels off and silly up here so you and I can have a fun last half of the year.
Yeah, Jim Maxwell's great, the ABC caller, one of the great callers. But you're right, it's they do have a lot more time to fill, I think, than baseball. And, yeah, the stories.
We're talking about
plenty
small
of stories
towns in between Melbourne and Adelaide. And great cricketers who have come from that town, or maybe, all-time horse races at some of these horse tracks or these ovals, or great cricketers of the 50s and 60s. I mean, it is awesome.
There's super fan Sean right there. You can see him just to the left of the pole there. Been here, honestly, since I've been here, Michael. He's pretty much at every Aces game and has been forever.
So, the 60s, 70s? Sorry, that was a cruel joke. That was a really cruel joke.
Early 2000s.
Since the showgrounds era.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
2-2 with 2 outs. 3-2 in the bottom of the seventh inning. And Khalil fights this off. George is 0 for 2 with a strikeout in the game.
Showgrounds, you would have loved calling there. The box was a temporary box behind home plate, but it was off center. You weren't directly behind home plate.
And the fence was temporary, right?
I don't think we had monitors. I think we were just calling radio. So, yeah, you just sort of had to guess.
A good breaking ball with a check swing, but he did not go, and we'll do it this time 3-2. 2 outs, and Mitch Edwards, who has a home run in the game, on deck. Melbourne trailing by a run. It's been 3-2 ever since the third inning. And a nice job done by George Khalil to keep this 7th inning alive. 2-out walk.
Very nice. Good at-bat.
So here comes Mitch Edwards with a chance. He hit his home run as a right-handed batter against Wells in the 3rd. The first that Wells has allowed in basically a decade in this league. Go back to his debut season in the ABL with Sydney. And now Edwards flips around a bat from the left side and punches a beautiful bunt to the third base side. It simply does not get better than that. And that is crafty from Mitch Edwards.
That's a magnificent bunt.
He's got his 2nd multi-hit game as a Melbourne Ace. And the Aces now have the tying run in scoring position. And how about this bunt? Absolute perfection. Ward not even thinking twice about it over at third. And why would you with the catcher hitting?
Wow.
But he sees daylight on the left side of the infield. And a 2-on, 2-out, and a 1-run game. It's 3-2 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. A chance for Zion Bannister to come through in a big way.
If that were Japanese baseball, it'd probably be played on all the late night sports shows. Bunt of the night.
Sports Center top 10.
All right, big at-bat here for Zion.
And now time called by Bannister. We've seen Zion come through with some big hits and big moments. And this would qualify with the Aces down a run, bottom of the 7th inning. Game 1 of this huge 5-game series. 2-on and 2-out. And 1 ball and no strikes to count. A couple of switch hitters back-to-back. Edwards hitting 9th and Bannister hitting 1st.
Yeah, it's good to have, isn't it?
Bannister with a .912 OPS with runners in scoring position. Remember, he had that huge go-ahead home run against Sydney and a couple of nights after that. And that big hit in the later innings to give the Aces another lead.
And this good work here, not being too aggressive at the plate, making Borka come to you with something or put you on.
2-0. Well, outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Well, give George Khalil all the credit for working that tough walk to keep this 7th inning alive. And then first pitch from Mitch Edwards, an absolutely gorgeous bunt down the third base line. And that has set Zion Bannister up. A good chance, a 3-0 count here. 2-on, 2-out. Aces trail by 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Bortka wavering just a little bit. And he misses inside, ball 4. They're loaded up for Aaron Whitefield.
So you're telling me the Aces are playing small ball. Is that what you're telling me?
When nobody would expect them to.
Yeah. Amazing.
I mean, the last thing in the world I was thinking when Edwards stepped to was he was going to lay down a bunt. But
well, same with Adelaide.
They're passing the torch along here in this 7th inning, and here comes Aaron Whitefield.
And it's another situation where, again, I know can hit, but just keep the pressure on Borka.
Base hit could very well give the Aces
and a walk
lead.
ties it, right?
Absolutely.
So don't be too over eager.
5 consecutive outside the zone from Bortka. Base is full, 2 outs. Yeah, there's a strike. This is only the 2nd time Whitefield has hit with the bases full this season. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. The Aces as a whole, 231 with the bases loaded. A couple of grand slams this year. Bannister has 1, Bird has 1. Here's the pitch. Good fastball there from Bortka.
Pitch. That's the best pitch he's thrown in the last 3 batters.
And Whitefield with the pants all the way down. We normally see him with those socks up to the knees. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bortka deals. That's low. Good take from Aaron, 2-2.
Good eye.
Tying run 90 feet away. Go ahead run at second base. And the Aces have Evan Rutsky up in the bullpen. Joey Steele's night likely finished after a scoreless top of the 7th. 2-2 from Bortka to Whitefield. Here's the pitch. Inside, ball 3, and he's got to throw a strike here.
That's a good eye from Whitefield.
The runners will get a head start. 3-2, 2 outs, and with the runners moving, a base hit almost certainly gives Melbourne a lead. Full count, 2 outs. Base is full. 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Here's the pitch. Swing and a foul tip held onto by Nava. And Whitefield down on strikes to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 left. We go to the 8th, and Adelaide still on top by a run.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Well, Evan Rutsky's still warming for the Aces, and I thought he'd come in to pitch, but he's not. So it's Joey Steele still out there after he struck out 3 in the 7th. Worked around a couple of one-out singles. 3-2 as we go to the 8th. Well, folks, very nice crowd on this Thursday. Some folks, I think, have filtered out with the cooler temperatures. I'm sure now that the sun's gone down, it's quite cool out there. That's why you see all of the jackets. But all those folks are having fun. And if you're looking at that and saying, hey, I kind of feel like I'm missing out. Well, take advantage of an Aces membership for the season. Select your seat for all the home games and enjoy perks like merchandise, car park passes, and more. Memberships for kids start as low as $20 for the season. For more info, visit melbourneaces.com.au/memberships. 3-2 ball game. We go to the 8th. It's been a good one to open this 5-game series and a critical 5-game set at that. Nick Ward leads things off. And he flies this high down the left field line. Burt giving chase.
Foul.
But it is a foul ball and allowed strike number 1. I'm going to guess that Steele is out there to face 3 batters because, in theory, with the lefty Rutsky up and warming, you might go to him to face Ward to start, but they don't do that. And after that, you got Spence and Lattimore, a couple of righties. And if the inning gets to Rickson Wingrove, another lefty, I think that's when you'd see Rutsky come in. So Steele probably has a fairly lengthy leash here in this 8th inning. That's part of the reason why I thought we might see a left-hander to begin things, but we'll wait and see what John Diebel is thinking atop the rail of that first base dugout.
Little action in the Adelaide pen, too, so we'll keep it on that for you.
Here's the 0-2. Crack tie out towards Whitefield. He's got plenty of room and makes the catch for out number 1.
He's busy out there, hasn't he?
He has had a busy evening.
I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 flyouts.
Well, it feels like a lot of them are loud too, right? He's had to move quite a bit to go flag some of those down.
Yeah, 2 from Lattimore, actually. Yeah.
There is that Adelaide bullpen. I think I caught the number 41 of Oscar Nakayoshi. Liam Spence stands in. He's 0 for 2 in the game, and that is...
Wake up. Good game going on.
Oh, he's just nodding off, too, isn't he? Here's the 1-0. And called the strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It is very comfy out there, I will say. There he is. See? Hey, he's tapping his foot to the song.
He's still with us.
I said with it, not with us. I hope he's still with us.
Man, it feels good to be back, though. That is for sure. It's been a great game and great crowd on this Thursday night. 2-1 from Steele to Spence.
Foul.
And I make it 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on.
Weather forecast is good, too, so it's not going to be too hot, but we don't see much rain, so should be a great weekend for baseball.
It's a big series for Adelaide trying to get back on track after suffering its first series loss of the season against Perth last week. That's driven to left center field. Burke on a gallop. Whitefield as well. Burke sliding to a knee, and he makes the catch. Outstanding grab from Chris Burke out there in left center field. Takes extra bases away from Liam Spence, who cannot believe it. And there are 2 down here in the top of the 8th.
That is the defensive play of the game. That is a magnificent play from Burke. I wasn't sure if he was going to get there. I kind of thought Whitefield might get there. But Burke, watch it again. Look at the speed and then the sellout diving. Had to avoid Whitefield as well.
A great drop by Aaron to leap over Burke.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's one of those plays they can't really communicate because it's
so
literally
fast.
right in between them. And someone has to take charge and try and make the catch. And Burke with an excellent sliding grab to take extra bases away from Spence.
What a play.
Maybe the Aces can rally around that, trailing by a run. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Overshift on against Lattimore. Lattimore sitting on 399 career doubles. That's a lot of doubles. Now the 2-1. Ground ball towards third. Takes a wicked little hop, but Darryl George with a throw over to first. Picked by Bird, but not in time. And Lattimore beats out an infield single.
There's that weird little flick there you saw just before George got it. We'll see that on the replay, I think. Have a look.
Yeah, hits right off the dirt.
And he has to move.
Darryl did a nice job adjusting to it. And here comes John Diebel. And indeed, they're going to go to the left-hander, Evan Rutsky, against Wingrove. So Steele was out to face 3 batters, and he very nearly got through the 8th inning unscathed. But he'll exit, and Evan Rutsky will enter with a runner at first base, 2 outs, 3-2 our score in the top of the 8th inning, and a mid-inning pitching change brought to you by Punt 123.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Well, a pitching change brought to you by Punt 123, and Evan Rutsky, the left-hander, takes over with 2 outs and a runner at first. Here in the 8th inning, Melbourne trailing by a run. And as I hypothesized when Steele came back out to start the 8th, he'd face 3 batters but would not face Wingrove if the inning got to him. And because of an infield single from Quincy Lattimore on a ground ball over to third, took a nasty little hop on Darryl George and messed up the timing just long enough for Lattimore to beat it down the first base line. Wingrove will indeed hit here in the top of the 8th inning.
That's a good call from you, Michael Dixon. You had that inning nailed.
I've called a lot of baseball games by myself and had to do a lot of solo analysis. And so I feel like I've seen a thing or two, which is nice. Lattimore, though, at first, does have good speed, so you got to be wary. And
that's
wouldn't
right.
be shocked to see him take off.
Just that little bit of that strange little hop that George had to move to his left a little bit, and Lattimore's got enough speed to where he just barely beat it out.
Well, Rutsky this year 2-1 with a 3.18 ERA, 11 1/3, 7 walks, 13 strikeouts. He has inherited 3 runners this season, and none of those 3 have come around to score. So when he's been asked to work out of some trouble, he's done a very good job in doing so. And coming off a good series against Brisbane, in which he tossed 3 scoreless innings there at Vidicon Stadium. So 2 outs with Lattimore at first, and Wingrove steps to the plate. He's 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch, scored a run, a couple of ground outs to first. And George Khalil at second base, playing a good 10 feet into the outfield grass. Rutsky with a soft toss to first.
Yeah, that's that kind of power that Wingrove has to that second base side. So Khalil, as you mentioned, a couple of meters back in the outfield.
And a ground ball towards Greg Bird, and it stays fair just long enough for Greg to make the play. And the inning is over. So Rutsky officially throws 1 pitch to strand 1 runner. Wingrove tosses his bat away in disgust, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's a 3-2 Adelaide lead.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialty. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
There's an unseen thread woven into the fabric of all Australian homes. It's a way of life. Sun-kissed days, afternoon storms, and memories shared with those we love. It's messy, but you bet we make it work. In the end, it's the simple things that make an Australian home home. And what did the trick then still does the job now.
Hills, Australia's trusted clothesline since 1945.
Well, New Era Technology provides specialized IT solutions for your business with internet and voice communications, managed services, as well as secure cloud hosting for data and software trusted by the Aces. New Era has an extensive team of engineers and sales professionals who provide hands-on collaboration that is backed by deep industry training. New Era Technology, proud supporters of the Melbourne Aces. Chilly night here at Melbourne Ballpark, but a great crowd taking Game 1 of this 5-game series, Game 2 tomorrow night. 3-2, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and it's another punt 1-2-3 pitching change. This time, the Giants go to one of the 4 available left-handers in Oscar Nakayoshi. And he takes over here in the last of the 8th inning, facing Glendening, Bird, and George. Some big bats coming through. But Nakayoshi has had an outstanding season.
Fascinating story with him, Michael. Obviously, he's Brazilian of Japanese descent, and 1.5 million Brazilians of Japanese descent. It's the biggest population outside of Japan. So Brazilian, Japanese.
That is fascinating. I had no idea.
Japanese League for the Hiroshima Carp, the Hiroshima Toyo Carp, one of the big league clubs in Japan. Also pitched with Auckland, the Tuatara. It's a fascinating scenario.
Now, the left-hander with 16 years of national team experience for Team Brazil, and included the 2013 World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, would you imagine the manager of Team Brazil would be out scouring the country for Japanese Brazilians, wouldn't you? Because it's obviously the national sport of Japan.
That is a fascinating nugget that
Phil
you
Hurd.
dug up. And
I dug it up thanks to Phil Hurd.
Fantastic.
Our Adelaide stats guru, among other things.
Well, that's an outstanding nugget from Phil, and for an outstanding arm, the left-hander, 8 appearances, 3-0 with a .54 ERA. And Glendenning fouls this back, 1 ball and 1 strike, 16 2/3. So we've seen him in longer relief this year. 10 hits allowed, opponents batting just 167. He's given up 4 runs, only 1 of those earned with 2 walks, 17 strikeouts. He has not allowed a home run this season. The Aces would love to tie this game on 1 swing. Glendenning behind in the count 1-2. 3-2 our score. We have not seen a run since the bottom of the 3rd when Mitch Edwards hit the solo homer to make this a 1-run game. Lachlan Wells, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Bortka a scoreless 7th, but had to work around some trouble with 2 outs. Struck out the first 2 batters he faced, and then a walk to Khalil, a bunt single from Edwards, a walk to Bannister, and the bases were loaded. The count was full with 2 outs, so he had to throw a strike, and it's exactly what he did against Aaron Whitefield. He struck out swinging to end the inning. 2-2 here to Glendenning. And he fouls it off. We'll do it again. Rolling behind Greg Bird on deck.
Actually, when you think about it, it's kind of the perfect name. It's an Oscar Nakayoshi, Japanese surname. Oscar is a famous sort of Brazilian first name. Football player's named Oscar. Basketball player Oscar Schmidt, who played against Australia's own Andrew Gaze, one of the greats of world basketball.
Here's the 2-2. And a call 3rd strike. Glendenning knew it. Over the inside corner. Pretty pitch there from Nakayoshi, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, Lachlan Wells, 41 strikeouts in 26 innings coming in, did not pick up a strikeout until the 5th. But the combination of Wells, Bortka, and now Nakayoshi with 6 strikeouts over the last 3+ innings. Here's Greg Bird. Struck out swinging against Wells in the 6th. They overshipped him with 3 on the right side. Tied for the ABL lead with 6 home runs, and pretty comfortably the ABL leader with 25 RBIs. 1 for 3 in this game. Melbourne trailing by 1. And that is ripped on the right field line. That is a foul ball.
Oh,
goodness gracious, that was close. Just on top of the line, or I guess I should say just to the right of the line.
Oh.
But that was ripped by Greg Bird and could have only been
couldn't even see.
Maybe an inch foul. I mean, there wasn't much of an argument from the Melbourne dugout, and they get a good look at that down the right field line. But that's about as close as you can get.
Sure is.
2 balls and a strike. That'd be one of those where we call for a challenge at Rod Laver Arena, and I think the crowd would react accordingly to what was a very close call on the line. 2-1. Popped him up. This is a little tougher with the shift. Josh Altman from short came all the way over, but the 3rd baseman Ward makes the catch. 2 outs. That is a pretty routine play for Altman, but since they're overshifting Bird, Altman's playing where a 2nd baseman normally would, and that forced Ward into a very uncomfortable catch, but does a very nice job there at 3rd. He's played a good game altogether over there at the hot corner. With 2 outs, here is Darryl George.
Yeah, he sure has. Again, the feeling in general in the series we've seen here has been remarkable. Especially the play at 3rd base and short.
You go back the last few weeks, the defensive play from Darryl George and Robbie Glendenning on the left side of the infield. We haven't seen Darryl at 3rd every game, but I'd say 75% of the time he's been there, and that combo has been outstanding defensively. Adelaide actually got out to a great start defensively. Just 6 errors in the first 15 games. I mean, the Giants led pretty much every significant category for the first 3 or so weeks.
You're right.
It's been a little tougher lately with 9 errors in the last 8 games, but none tonight. Some pretty good plays defensively.
It's been a pretty clean game, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, you had the diving attempt from Lattimore on the Glendenning double in the first, but there's not really a whole lot he could have done. He laid out to try and make the catch. Go back to that double play that Ward began on the ground ball when he was playing in after the Aces had the first 2 on in the 4th inning. Still trailing by 1 as we play here in the 8th. George behind the count, 0-2 with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And he lifts it foul.
Oh. You hear that crack off the bat. The crowd immediately, even though you knew it for sure it was going foul.
Well, right now, the guys coming through in this 8th inning, Glendenning, Bird, George, all 3 of those guys have been crushing the baseball. And that's why you really feel like the Aces are in as good a spot as anybody, down by a run, to come through with that big swing. 2 strikes and a pitch outside.
Good eye.
Jared Dale awaits on deck. He hit his first home run against Brisbane. That was a no-doubter, 3-run homer in that 4th and final game of the series. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And that's in the dirt. Skips past Nava, but of no consequence with nobody on base. 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Darryl George. .321 batter with an 11-0 OPS here at Melbourne Ballpark this season. Tied for 2nd in the league with 9 extra base hits. The 2-2 swing and a miss.
Got him.
Filthy from the left-hander Nakaoshi, and 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts in a scoreless 8th. We go to the 9th. Aces still trail by 1.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
At New Blinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. New Blinds Australia, more value for you.
Well, a cool December evening at Melbourne Ballpark. Trying to get the crowd to make as much noise as possible. A great Thursday night crowd. Not everybody's still here. It cooled off quite a bit once the sun disappeared and the clouds hung overhead, but got a blanket, a jacket, still plenty comfy enough to get through the rest of this ball game. Let's see if the Aces can find a way at the bottom of the ninth, trailing by just the 1 run, and get the offense back to the plate, assuming that we'll see the closer Todd Van Steensel for the Giants. After
the big man.
Good outing from Nakaoshi. But Evan Rutsky back out there. Rutsky just 1 pitch required after he came on with 2 outs on a runner at first to strand Lattimore.
Yeah, so the job here of Rutsky, obviously, no runs, get the Aces to the bottom of the 9th, see if they can push 1 across, force extra innings, or 2 to win it. But you don't want that. Runs have been hard to come by, as you alluded to earlier. Haven't had a run since, the 3rd? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you don't want them to sneak 1 across here. So no messing around, Michael.
Well, you should have told me that before we went on the air. Josh Altman, Jordan McCardle, and Andrick Nava, the scheduled 3.
Just missed.
Altman 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts and a walk. Altman, one of those guys I've called so many games of, and gotten to know so well that it's hard not to just call him Josh on the air, even though it's
yeah, I know what you
the
mean.
opposition.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a little odd. Calling the opposition hitters by their first name.
Yep. You going to talk to him and let him know that his wife has been featured on a broadcast?
Yeah, I already sent a message down the line to say you've
great.
been on there twice. And I know, or at least I'm almost certain that Walter and Carol will wake up. I believe they're in Florida right now. Two retired educators, outstanding parents of Josh Altman. They're staying in the USA for the 4-month stretch, but very supportive parents. Here's a ground ball to short. And Glendenning on the run. He's got it. One out in the 9th inning. I'll bet Robbie Glendenning's saying finally, because by my count, that's the first time a ball's been hit to him tonight. But I'll bet, as Altman trots off to the third base dugout, that Walter and Carol will watch this game on replay, on demand. And I talk to Walter via Facebook maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah, right.
He's always asking if I found a girlfriend in Australia yet. He really wants me to find a girlfriend here.
That's great. Well, maybe we can make that a year-long campaign. We'll get that going here, Michael. See what we can do.
Hang a banner in front of the
Find
radio
Michael
booth.
an Australian girlfriend. We'll get a website.
Here's the 1-0. Yeah, a little bit low. Well, perhaps it could be one of those where, prospective women don't actually have to see me. They just hear me talk first. And then they're very interested. And then they unveil the curtain and you kind of see the disappointment.
You're far too hard on yourself, Michael. Far too hard on yourself.
We're just having fun.
Indeed we are. And this has been, I said in the break, if you're neutral, this has been a very, very good baseball game.
Kind of a good game, too, for the spotlight of the league to be on it tonight. John Diebel. There is another game as Rutsky misses low and McCarter walks. He's been aboard twice tonight, but there is another game that might be underway. I'm not entirely sure if it's underway just yet, but all the way out in
west.
Perth.
I don't think it's underway yet.
I think that was a 9:30 start time for
10
o'clock.
10 actually, Eastern time. Yeah. Out in the Wild West.
Well, here's Nava. He's had a big night, 2 for 3 with a 2-run home run. Now, they passed along all the information and said Nava known for what he does defensively, and his numbers in affiliated baseball haven't been great on offense, but he is out to a great start in Australia, hitting north of 300 now with 4 home runs. Came in batting .311 on the season. Again, this lineup, top to bottom, has been the best and most consistent throughout the season. So not surprising to see some of those numbers. 2-1 the count here to Nava. 2-run homer in the second, round out the fourth, single in the 7th. Signed with the Phillies back in 2018 out of Venezuela. 1 on, 1 out. That's McCarty walked. Middle infield hoping to turn 2. And a late swing on a breaking ball. It's 2-2.
Well, only Knight and Spence haven't been on. So 7 of the 9 batters have been on one way or another, either via hit, walk, or hit by pitch. Yeah. So they are getting contributions up and down this lineup. And Spence had a sac fly.
On the Melbourne side of things, that's 6 of 9 too. So
yeah.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch. Ground ball outside of third. Both pitching staffs have been great since the start of the 4th inning, but it doesn't really feel like a game that has been one of those we'll talk about, for a long time with the success of the pitching staffs. A lot of balls put in play. We haven't seen a whole lot of strikeouts. We've seen some walks mixed in, but we haven't seen any runs since the 3rd inning. That's flared to right center, and that'll dunk down for a base hit. McCardle stops at second, but 2 on, 1 out. It is
3-hit night
crucial
for Nava.
It is, yep. It is crucial for Rutsky to keep the Giants off the board.
Yep.
And the Aces will start to get the bullpen up and warming. Got a pinch runner at second base as McCardle steps off. And
yeah, that's a good move from Chris Adamson. McCardle does not run very well.
I believe that is number 27, Anthony Kirion. And a visit now from pitching coach Peter Moyland as Christian James begins to warm, but he's got to hurry because 2 on, 1 out. You don't have much margin for error in this ninth inning.
You're right, Michael. That is Anthony. That is Kirion over there as the base runner. McCardle, not the fleetest of foot, so you put a faster runner in with the possibility of pushing that one insurance run across. That's just a nice, solid baseball move from Chris Adamson, the manager of the Adelaide Giants.
And McCardle, the DH, so just a straight one-for-one swap. You don't have to worry about anything defensively.
Kind of a no-brainer, but nonetheless a good move.
So the conversation at the mound is over. Yeah, with 2 on, 1 out. Big moment in the top of the ninth inning. Here comes Briley, 9 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts, and Evan Rutsky trying to navigate the rest of this ninth and keep this a one-run game. First pitch fastball low. Again, for the Aces in the bottom of the ninth, it'll be Dale Burke-Khalil. That is 6, 7, and 8. Melbourne trailing by a run, out hitting Adelaide 7-6. 3 of those 6 Giants hits belong to the man on first base, Andrik Nava. Here's the 1-0. That's high from Rutsky, 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, and you want to get the ball. You don't want to put Knight on, right? He's 0 for 3. He hasn't looked great at the plate. 2 strikeouts. This is a guy you want to throw. Make him hit it. Make him beat you.
Cade Fergus on deck. The 2-0. Foul tip. Christian James warming, but not quite sure how quickly he'd be ready. There's a chance he could come in to face Fergus, but he only got up to throw a couple of minutes ago. Riley Knight was helping that one a little bit lower than maybe he thought it was. 3-1.
He's not a big guy, that's for sure.
Fergus and then Ward following Knight. Middle infield hoping to turn 2. Big swing and a miss. Good pitch there from Rutsky.
Huge.
Sinker over the inside corner, and the count is full. Three and 2 with 1 out.
Big pitch here, Michael.
Kirion at second. Nava at first. Payoff pitch. Line shot towards left center field. That is trouble. It's down for a hit. Fielded by Whitefield. Throws it home. It's a good throw. Kirion wisely held up at third. So Kirion had to wait just long enough before he took off and make sure that Whitefield did not make the play. And they're loaded up with 1 out.
Great stuff from Whitefield. Played that really well. You can see him come over, immediately up, ready to throw. Boom.
Kirion would have been out by a comfortable margin. So they'll keep Rutsky in for now. Don't quite think Christian James is ready. Now the infield in. With 1 out in the 3-2 game, top of the ninth, and now time is called by Rutsky to bring out Edwards.
Ferguson, interesting one, Michael. Of course, he had that double in the third inning and then 2 strikeouts. And has been struggling a bit at the plate.
Yeah, he has.
I guess you take your chances with him, although I said that about Knight, and he delivers with a single. So,
well, any ground ball would come home first.
Yep.
You're not thinking about turning to in a situation like this, but if you had a chance perhaps to get a second out at first base, if Fergus does indeed hit a ground ball to one of the 4 infielders, you do have to keep in mind he is the center fielder with outstanding speed.
Yeah,
so
he does have good speed. You're right.
Again, you're looking for a strikeout or an out at home plate. First pitch in the dirt, smothered by Edwards. Tosses that ball aside, and 1 ball and no strikes from Rutsky to Fergus. Nick Ward looming on deck, and the Giants threatening. In a game that we have not seen a run in since the 3rd inning. It's been 3-2 for a while. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good one there from Rutsky. It gets interesting, too, if you get through this batter without a run coming across. You have Ward, the lefty, on deck, and Rutsky, the lefty, still in the game. But you got to think Rutsky's reaching the end of his line. Here's the 1-1. Foul back, 1-2. Tough 2 for Evan. I mean, obviously, you come in, runner at first, 2 outs. You've been throwing for a while, and you throw 1 pitch to get Rickson Wingrove, and then you go sit on a chilly evening in the dugout.
That's very true. You're right.
You got the job done, but after warming up and getting ready to come into the game, next thing you know, you're on the bench for a while. 1-2. See if he can get a strikeout. Ground ball towards short. Glendening comes home for 1. No! It's under the glove of Edwards. 1 run in, gets away, throw back home, and Rutsky covering. They get the out on Nava, trying to sneak in a 2nd run. But Glendening with the throw to Edwards at the plate, and it was under his mitt. A run scores. That is a crucial run for Adelaide. It's 4-2 here in the 9th inning.
I have to get a replay of this. Here it comes. There's the throw. It's hard to
it's
tell.
tough to tell from that angle.
It is. Great alert play by Rutsky then to cover the plate. This might give us a little better look here. Yeah, I think Edwards just tried to get the backhand, didn't quite pull it off. Good hustle then to get the next out. At least prevent another run from scoring.
Well, 2 outs, throw back to first base, and Cade Ferguson safely. Fergus reaches on the fielder's choice. There is an error on Glendening. No RBI for Fergus. And look at that, we got a little bit of rain falling. Some light mist, nothing significant. But that a big run for the Giants. And this line to the left field, that is down for a base hit. That'll make it 5-2. Fergus speeding around second, slides into third. Meanwhile, Ward with an RBI double makes it 5-2. Adelaide, the Giants have added 2 big ones here in the 9th.
Wow. Oy, oy, oy.
Rutsky still out there. Doesn't look like the Aces will go to another arm. And I think if you're a Melbourne pitching staff, you've only used 2 relievers tonight, and you were trying as hard as you could to get through this, allowing or allowing nothing to get to the bottom of the 9th down by a run. High chopper back to Rutsky. And this very nearly brought Greg Bird off the bag, but a good stretch. And thankfully the inning is over, but 2 runs come in to score. And the Giants add 2 to the lead. It's 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. 3 outs left for Melbourne, trailing by 3.
We watched as Taylor kicked the sky. When Ben Simmons makes a three, we give a big high five. What future sport looks like just won't be right without a pie. Oh, what a lovely pie, me mates are 4 and 25. Oi!
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
There is a pensive Aces dugout as we enter the bottom of the ninth inning, and suddenly a tight 3-2 game is blown out a little bit to 5-2 as you look at some of the rain falling here at Melbourne Ballpark. Ed Wyatt, Michael Dixon with you. As we mentioned earlier, the who knows about how the wind, about the weather prediction goes, because they were saying no rain, 0 chance of rain, and now it's raining. We do have a punt 1-2-3 pitching change, Michael, and it is one of the legends of Australian baseball, Todd Van Steensel.
Yeah, legend is correct. He's had a great 2023-24 as well. Has a save against Melbourne, 0-1 with a 2.08 ERA and 9 appearances, and 4 for 4 in save opportunities. Well, the rain picking up a decent amount here at Melbourne Ballpark.
How's his 2023? Wins the Claxton Shield, throws the final strikeout, strikes out Shohei Ohtani at the World Baseball Classic.
Pretty good year.
Broke the ABL record for most games pitched here in Week 2. And not a bad year.
Yeah, it's his 13th season here in the ABL.
And he's got that famous look where he looks like he's a softball player somewhere in the States with basically wearing shorts and stockings.
Well, a save opportunity for the right-hander. He's converted all 4 this season. And 8 2/3, 10 hits, 3 runs. He's walked 4 and struck out 8. Adelaide with 2 big runs added in the 9th inning.
Yeah, crowd here really just deflated after that inning that should have gotten out early, but the error on the throw from Glendenning to Mitch Edwards allowed that run to score.
Not over just yet.
No.
3 outs left to play with. And perhaps make it 2. Ground ball to Spence, and Jared Dale 0 for 4 here tonight. That could be the end of his 8-game hitting streak.
Yep.
So 1 out, nobody on base. Here comes Chris Burke, 0 for 3 with a couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Nakayoshi, 1 inning, no walks, 2 strikeouts, 3 up, 3 down in that 8th.
Talked about what a good game this was. Now it's got a bad taste in my mouth after
it does.
that last
the good
half
news,
an inning.
We got 4 left
Correct.
after this one.
Correct.
You go back to when you reconstruct this game, it was 3-2 after 3 innings. You got the shutdown frame from Gunnar Kynes in the top of the 4th.
Yeah.
And then in the bottom of the 4th, back-to-back singles, first Bird, then George, 2 on, nobody out, and that's when that double play from Jared Dale came.
Yep.
And I said at the time, circle that inning.
You did.
Because it just felt like it's ripped down the right field line, and it drops for a base hit. Burke on his way to second, and he's there standing up. So the Aces, with a little bit of life here, 2 outs remaining, need 1 more base runner for things to get interesting, but Chris Burke with a 1-out double, and here comes George Khalil. But again, I said circle that because it's tough. These 2 pitching staffs don't give up a ton of runs.
No, they don't. And you're absolutely right as we watch Burke. Good hit down the right field line, in with a double.
Yeah, Burke's enjoyed hitting against Adelaide this year, now 5 for 15 in the season series. George Khalil stands in. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a walk. Right on right. With Burke at second base. Both teams on 8 hits. And a first pitch fastball on the outside corner to George Khalil.
This is that thing, too, where, if you've been able to keep him down, if it's still a 3-2 game, It's much less daunting than now this 5-2 deficit, unfortunately, for the Aces.
One and 1-2. Khalil 0 for 8 in the season series. And Mitch Edward, a switch hitting catcher with a home run of the game. He looms on deck. Van Steensel is ready. Swing and a miss.
Did not look comfortable on that pitch, Khalil.
Van Steensel with 154 career ABL games, but somehow, someway has never made a start. Not one. Not even just here or there making a spot start. It has never happened for him. It's always been pitching in relief. And Khalil pops this down the right field line. Tough play. Wingrove back. And no chance for him. Do it again 1 and 2, but I feel like as Khalil walks to the first base dugout, probably broke that bat. Anything down that right field line, as good as the Giants have been in foul territory, got to be careful on.
True.
Even if you know for a fact it's probably going to drop. Rain continues to fall. I did not think we'd see this tonight, but sure enough.
You were spot on with it. You're already adjusted to Melbourne weather, right? Not meant to be any rain for the cricket. Rains. Not meant to be any rain here tonight. Rains.
Supposed to rain for the cricket, didn't rain.
Yeah.
In fact, it was beautiful. Here's the 1-2. Outside. Good pick by Nava. It doesn't mean a ton because the Aces still need a base runner, but still nice nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a nice play.
Edwards looming on deck. Boy, how much would the Aces love to get some of those big guys through with a chance to win this game.
Yep.
Adelaide trying to win for the first time this season when giving up the first run.
Yes.
Hasn't happened often, but the Giants have not yielded the first run and come back to win. Trailed 1-0 after 1 tonight. Up 5-2 in the ninth. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strikeout for Khalil. And Melbourne down to its final out here tonight. Going to bring up Mitch Edwards, who has to reach to extend things. Another great note from Phil that he sent us. Teams across the league entering the final schedule inning with a lead are 62-0 this year, Ed. So
wow.
If you're talking about a late rally,
great stat.
You're up against it statistically. And the ABL so far this season. Of course, that's any lead, so that stat weights a 1-run lead the same as a 10-run lead or whatever
lead Adelaide had against Canberra.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. 72-run lead or whatever that was.
20-something, yeah.
Quick conversation here for Altman, Nava, and Van Steensel to get on the same page. 5-2 our score, the bottom of the ninth inning. 2 outs, and the Aces need one more base runner for things to get quite interesting. It's 62-0. Also, that speaks too to how good the pitching has been league-wide.
Yeah.
It's been tough for these offenses, but they have been better lately. Edwards with 2 hits here tonight. Solo homer, a single. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, the first pitch time. And we're on with the Brick Lane Brewing Company pregame show right about 6:50. And a doubleheader upcoming on Saturday. Matinee on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do about Sunday. We normally have, it's normally a New Year's Eve game at night. The last few years, I've had to go join friends, dinners and functions late, but I'm not going to know what to do with myself. I'll be there early this time. Maybe I'll just tell them it's a night game, show up late again.
They'll have no idea. 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss.
Good pitch.
Van Steensel looking for his 5th save. And the Giants Trying to get back on track after a tough weekend in Perth right before Christmas. 2 ball, 1 strike count with 2 outs. That is Burke at second with a 1-out double. Here's the pitch. Way outside.
Ooh. I mean, we've seen Perth, we've seen Brisbane, and now we're seeing Giants. So we've arguably seen the 3 best teams in the league, right?
Yep.
All 3 of them have impressed me with their depth, and as well as the Aces. I think that they're very, very even as the standings. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out when you look at the standings.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all of those teams are tight at the top. 3-1. And lifted the other way, foul. Melbourne down to its final strike. Van Steensel is tied with former Melbourne ace. I've really neglected to mention the guys from Oryx, but thanks so much for all that they did through the first 6 rounds. But
absolutely.
The Oryx Buffaloes have gone back home. Kaede Yokoyama had 4 saves. He and Van Steensel currently tied for second in the league. Carter Hope with a comfortable lead in that category, and he picked up his 7th in Game 3 of last weekend's series against Melbourne. Full count, 2 outs. Ace is down to their final strike. Van Steensel deals. And it's fought off by Mitch Edwards. Hard to ask the catcher to do much more than he already has to work this count and try and keep the Aces alive.
Yeah, you forget about the impact of those guys, don't you? Sugasawa was so good.
Sho Fukunaga has caught.
Fukunaga behind the plate.
He's caught far more innings than anybody.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
The Aces.
Yep. And you just sort of, sometimes you forget when they go back.
And it wasn't supposed to be that way with Tucker Mitchell, but
yeah, exactly.
The early injury for him, and that forced the Aces to shuffle the deck. 3-2, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Ground ball up the middle. That's into center field. A base hit. Here comes Burke. He scores. The Aces still alive. 3 RBIs tonight for Edwards. And a tying run step to the plate. 5-3 here in the bottom of the 9th.
How about Mitch Edwards? How about that guy?
3 hits, 3 RBIs.
Unbelievable. That's just a great, great game from him tonight.
I beg your pardon, 2 RBIs. Got ahead of myself, but still a multi-RBI game nonetheless. And that's a professional at-bat. Fought off some tough pitches and bounces one up the middle. And all you're trying to do if you're Edwards is just keep the Aces alive. You had to reach base. He does exactly that.
Yep.
2 outs, runner at first. Tying run at the plate. Here's Zion Bannister. Right on left.
Oh.
And foul down the left field line.
Off
Nothing
the bat. You just
Boy,
want that thing to go.
I don't know if it's just us not seeing live baseball for 3.5 weeks, but we have seen some loud foul balls tonight.
Absolutely.
Strike 1 for Bannister, who steps out. Zion again. An outstanding night. At the top of the order with a single, a double, a walk, a run scored. Does have a couple of home runs this year, including a big one in the 9th inning against Sydney 2 weeks ago. Aces could use another one here tonight. Swing and a miss. Got him with a back foot breaking ball.
Tough one. That was tricky.
The Aces once again down to their final strike. 2 strikes and 2 outs here in Whitefield on deck. Mitch Edwards with the RBI single. Reaches base to keep the Aces alive, and it's 5-3 here in the bottom of the 9th. Here's the pitch. Fastball away and a good take from Bannister. Whitefield on deck 0 for 4, but he does have home run power.
Yep.
Feels like everybody right now for the Aces has home run power, 1 through 9. Everybody's been swinging a pretty heavy bat. 11 home runs in Brisbane last week. 1 from Edwards tonight. 1-2. Ground ball towards second. They should do it. Grabbed by Spence. And he throws the first. The ball game is over. So the Giants take game 1 of this big 5-game series. And for the first time this year, Adelaide wins a game when surrendering the game's first run. The Aces 8-2 when scoring first before tonight, so they fall to 8-3. But really, I feel like it came down to a couple of innings. That 4th inning for Melbourne when the Aces had 2 on, nobody out. The double play changed the complexion entirely. They left Wells off the hook and ultimately did not score again until it was too little too late with the 1 run in the bottom of the 9th inning. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Giants. 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Aces. And Adelaide now with a 2-game lead on Melbourne. Adelaide improves to 15-9. The Aces fall to 13-11. Ed, it was a really good first game of what should be a really good 5-game series. And if this is a sign of things to come, not just what we saw on the field, but also in the stands, it'll be a lot of fun. It started with the RBI double from Robbie Glendening in the bottom of the first run allowed by Lachlan Wells all year.
Yeah, first run allowed by him. And, of course, we mentioned the fact that Adelaide was 0-4 when the other team scored first. That's now 1-4, unfortunately, if you're an Aces fan. But that did get things going. You can see the Aces dugout up and about there.
So Glendening picks up the RBI double, and this felt like a big moment for Melbourne. And facing a guy like Lachlan Wells, who had allowed just the 12 hits, 3 walks, 41 strikeouts through 26 innings. And it was that play, too, where Bannister had to hightail it back towards second before it got past the dive of Lattimore. So that's how the game started. It was 1-0 in the bottom of the first. But things changed quickly. Gunnar Kynes gave up 3 home runs against Brisbane last week, and he gives up a 2-run home run in the second inning tonight.
Yeah, and that's where we talked about the wind blowing from right to left tonight. It normally blows from left to right, where you see a lot of the home runs hit over the right field fence. Tonight it was the left field fence, and Andrick Nava, the Venezuelan catcher, got a hold of that, and it just flew across that outfield line. And then sort of the same scenario, right, with Mitch Edwards stepping up.
Almost a carbon copy. You saw Kynes leave that fastball up. This time, Edwards just over the fence out there in left field, his first Aces home run. The Aces now with 12 home runs in their last 5 games. And that was another pitch, just a little bit too far up in the zone. Wells surely wanted that one back. Good swing from
And just watch
Mitch
his
Edwards.
face. Yeah, he knows that's
He
gone.
knows that, yep.
Yeah, that's gone.
He's doing everyone a service by running, but he knew he could probably stretch that one out a little longer than he did. But good for Mitch Edwards. Sliding catch from Chris Burke, highlighting a really nice night defensively for both teams. Unfortunately, though, a play you have to circle is this one. Don't really know where the mistake was, if it was the throw from Glendening. His response would tell you perhaps it was. Good recovery by Edwards. They get the out on Nava after 1 run scored. This was a 2-out RBI double down the left field line, and they get 5-2. The Giants with a couple of big runs of insurance in the top of the 9th inning and had a 5-2 lead entering the bottom of the 9th. Good at-bat from Edwards to keep the Aces alive. He bleeds one through the middle on the 8th pitch he saw from Van Steensel. That scored Burke, and the Aces were within 2. The tying run stepped to the plate, but Zion Bannister bounces out to end the ball game. And the Giants take it again by a final score of 5-3. Well, Ed, any parting words?
Yeah, a very, very even game. You mentioned, that it was a good game. It was relatively clean, although the error, of course, at the end. But 5-3, 2 of the best teams in the league really going, toe-to-toe. Offense, defense, fielding, strategy. It was just, it's a great start to this series. Obviously not for the Aces, but for Adelaide and for anyone just sort of wanting to watch some decent baseball. This was a very good way to start. Of course, if you're an Aces fan, you want to win the next 4. So we have to put our Aces hat on and say we need to, we'd rather win an ugly game than lose a good game. But you're right. It's for a game between these two teams, it was a very, very good exhibition of baseball. There's a lot of talent out on that field, Michael, and it's going to be fun to watch them over the next 3 days.
Again, keep in mind, this is a marathon, not a sprint in a 5-game series, even though it'll feel like a sprint playing 5 games over the course of 4 days and 3 over the course of less than 24 hours with the doubleheader Saturday into Sunday. Well, the final totals all together before we say goodnight. Adelaide, 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 6 left. Melbourne, 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, 7 left. Lachlan Wells improves to 4-0 with a .56 ERA. His first 2
really
runs
high now, isn't it?
I mean, he goes 6 innings, he gives up 2 runs. and his ERA is closer to 1 than it was 0 when it started, when the night started. It's been that kind of year for him. Gunnar Kynes takes the loss, but I think Gunnar did a really nice job of battling after he didn't have his best stuff in those second and third innings. Todd Van Steetzl had kind of a knee-knocking ninth inning, but he does find a way to pick up save number 5. The totals for the individual teams: Adelaide 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 6 left. Melbourne 3, 9, 1, and 7. And it's played in 2 hours and 48 minutes in front of a very nice Thursday crowd of 1,382. Adelaide now 14-9 on the year, 15-9 on the year, beg your pardon. Melbourne is 13-11. Well, we'll say goodnight from Melbourne Ballpark, and Game 2 of this series tomorrow evening. First pitch time at 7 o'clock. And the Brick Lane Brewing Company pregame show on the air right about 6:50 right here on Aces TV. For Ed Wyatt and our entire fantastic Sportscast Australia crew, I'm Michael Dixon saying so long from Melbourne Ballpark. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
This broadcast is powered by Sportscast Australia.